Good evening, everyone. I hope my voice is loud and clear.
Yeah, good evening, Shashi. It's clear now.
Good evening. Perfect. Great.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, we still have a minute, but I guess we can start with a quick recap, and specifically with respect to Project Charter. So, yes, we yesterday we started with the Project Charter part of it, and we obviously like completed half of it, and remaining half we will continue today. So, the first thing first, we talk about the business case. Uh, we must have basic ingredients in a business case. Uh, and in this business case, basically, you have your own way and style of writing it. So we must stick to our way of writing. That's absolutely fine. So we don't need to imitate anyone's style. Everyone is good at the way they are. But yes, when I've written my business case, this is more about telling your management, why do you need to do this project? And what is this project going to do? So I'm reading my business case. I should be able to look out for three answers. If I get these three answers, basically answers to these questions, I've done a good job there. So pretty much if I cover that what is this project going to do, what is this project all about, the benefits of the project and the implications of not doing the project. I would rather refrain from using facts, analysis, too much of data around in the business case. This is more of a storyboard where we sort of end up writing a paragraph to kind of explain, not a lengthy one, but concise to the point. But yes, the basic aspects should be clear. Problem statement will serve the purpose of kind of justifying what we have stated in the business case is correct. So numerical justification, facts-based justification is going to be covered in the problem statement. So basic points that you got to keep in mind while writing problem statement, you always mention the data period under study. So whatever period, like 3 months, 4 months, never write like last 3 months looking at, I don't know, when I'm reading this business case, or your project charter 5 months down the line, I don't know which last 3 months you're talking about. So probably last quarter. That doesn't make sense to me. Why? Because whenever I read, I will refer to that last quarter from that day. So it's always important to quantify exactly what period you're talking about. Like we talked about like Jan to May 2021. So whenever I'm reading it, like 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, I exactly know which data period you're talking about. So ideally avoid like that kind of generic statement which says last quarter or last 6 months. No, sorry, that doesn't work and should be avoided. Actual problem seen. So when you looked at the data, what did you find? What was the actual problem for which you want to do the project? So you actually mentioned the exact problem. And because of that problem, because of what you've not been doing, what kind of problems you faced so far, and specifically with respect to the financial impact, because that's the language your sponsors will understand. Whatever has happened so far, you quantify, and obviously all the relevant stakeholders will be with you, the operations, finance, and all those people, including the champion. You can get this inputs from the relevant stakeholders as to what has happened so far. And yes, then definitely you can show them the bigger picture was what is in store if you don't fix this problem. So that's what you quantify. This is more about data facts analysis. Once you're done with that, when we talked about this one, this is very important. Whenever you're writing a problem case statement or opportunity statement, go back and criticize yourself. It's very important because we end up explaining ourselves too much. And at times while explaining, we might end up suggesting a possible cause or a possible solution why this problem may be happening. Sorry. If I knew I would have fixed it, I won't have been looking for a project. So never ever suggest a possible cause or a solution, even if you know it, because that's what you get. So somebody who's in doing a job, you're working with an organization doing a project, well, the number of successful projects you complete will get you the brownie points. So yes, it's important. And if you're working as a consultant, definitely that's your bread and butter. So there's no free lunch. You definitely want to get a project here. That's the purpose. So yes, we would not like to suggest any possible cause or solution that comes with everything comes with a price tag. So that's where we no free advices. Now coming to goal statement, very important because as I said, the biggest blunder we do is in problem statement. If we have a weak problem statement, doesn't have facts, figures, numbers. It's a weak problem statement. management would not be interested to read anything further because you would not be able to impress them, get their required attention. We will have a weak problem statement. So that's what we have to kind of definitely look into, because that's the heart of your project charter. That's what they would read and make like decision. Now, the problem you've quantified, but yes, what would you gain out of it? Now, this is another area where we do mistakes. So goal statement goes with the basic logic. It should be KISS and SMART. The KISS logic is keep it short and simple. The more you write, the more trouble you ask for yourself. It has to be absolutely short and simple. And we'll talk about a good and a bad example both, so that we are able to understand what blunder can we make here. And goal statement must be a SMART statement. So I'm sure we all are aware of the acronym SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So that's what a goal statement should always be: specific, measurable. I can't say I will improve it for you. Improve from what to what? Attainable. Don't just talk something irrelevant. It has to be like achievable. Relevant. Don't digress. Stick to the point. And time bound. So that these are the features of your goal statement. Like, let me write a correct goal statement and then write a wrong one also. To increase quality percentage from 85% to 90% by, say, 30th September 2021. That's it. Anything else that I write after this will be asking for trouble. Now, never do this. That's what just want to make sure, with a quick disclaimer. Never do this. Same copy paste. Now let's see what we generally see such project charters. So we can regain the lost market share and reinstate the agency ratings. Well, now you have 3 projects. You have a project to improve quality from 85% to 90%. Your project to regain the market share, and you have a project to improve the agency ratings. Well, the project will be funded, keeping in mind the quality that you're talking about. But yes, you are now accountable for everything that you write here. Goal statement, right? That's what you're committing. You will get this once you get the project done. What if your quality improves from 85 to 90% and client doesn't give you the market share back? Your project fails. What if your market share is retained, but client is a little skeptical? Well, whether probably it's a temporary improvement, and I would like to still keep you under watch. I don't improve your agency ratings, but still your project will fail. Well, do you need a project to be done to improve agency rating? Well, we'll be happy to do that. That's a separate project. Would you want me to work on improving your market share? Yes, why not? That's a separate project. Let's not merge multiple projects in one. Don't over-explain. Well, yes, by the virtue of your quality improvement project. Yes, if you get this, I will get the credit for that. I will take the credit when I talk about efforts and benefit analysis, that we did this project, we were suffering with this particular challenge. We were losing money because of penalties and all that. Now, thanks, we've reinstated everything, and the project quality score has maintained. We are consistently meeting the client target. And by the virtue of that, yes, this is what we've got. We will not be accountable for this. Yes, I will take that as benefit, but I would not be accountable for this. Yes, that's what we got to keep in mind. Never end up writing too much. Why? Because going back to the PMP definition, it talks about something called projects fail because of triple constraints. 3 primary reasons: cost, scope, and time. You were given a certain budget, but you exhausted your budget too soon, too early. Why not? You were supposed to work on quality, you're working on market share and agency rating also. That will eat up your budget. You were supposed to fix only quality. The boundaries of your project was quality. You started working on market share and agency rating. You increased your boundaries, and you were never given budget or resources for that. You will end up sort of failing the project. And again, time. Obviously, you're taking more metrics to cover. You will end up taking more time. So practically, these 3 things are interlinked with each other, and that's the most common reasons of project failures. it's very important to kind of control this, these three factors so that we do not end up making a mess out of the project. And hence, it's very important to have it short and simple goal statement. Now, a big basic question like can definitely come in. How do I know 90%? Why not? What if? How do we decide the goal? And that's what you did. How we talk about goals, how we set up the goals. We'll just quickly talk about it, because generally, how do we go about like finalizing a goal as such? Number one, did we ever achieve this level? Whatever the management is asking for. Yes, we've done it. We were doing 90 plus actually. The last 5-6 months, something has gone wrong. So it's not something which is new to us or it's not achievable. No, we are going through a bad phase right now, but we were doing it. It's achievable. Absolutely. We'll talk about the competitors definitely. How are the competitors doing? If they are able to do it, practically you can do that. So it's not that they are blessed with extra skills, but if they are able to do it, so should you be able to do it. Again, the industry benchmark. What's your industry standard? If that's what is 90%, yes, then it's achievable. Finally, what you bring into the table, like, so you obviously would like to include your subject matter experts for final sort of takeaway. And what we bring to the table is statistical approach. So we have a statistical test. We will be talking about one sample T, another test becoming a black belt will get exposed to other ways where we can understand what's the capability of the process, how much we can probably expect out of the project. So that's what we bring to the table, the statistical aspect. The rest is going to be done by the process experts who are dealing with the process day in, day out. We look at competitor, we look at historical data, all that stuff. What we bring to the table is like an assessment about looking at historical data, how we've been doing and what is the capability of this process, how much is possible. So that we will be able to look at, like not only one sample, like in our case, we'll have a lot of being black belts, one sample sign, one proportion, depending on what kind of problem you are dealing with, one Poisson rate, one variance, and they'll like, so that's what you will come to that stage. We will have to kind of learn about all these tests. So the various methods, when do we use what method, we'll understand that. So we bring the statistical flavor to this goal setting exercise. These are actually used for target setting, goal setting. You can use this method depending on what are you trying to improve. So just to kind of give an early update, not one sample sign, one sample T. Oops. One sample T. If your project is average based, you want to improve the average of the process, average production, average something average, whatever it is. That's what the test would use. If you're trying to reduce people who have not come from the statistical background or who've not done green belt, some terms might sound new to you, but people who've done green belt will obviously be able to read with these terms. If your project is median based, we will be doing one sample sign test. We'll talk about that any which ways, but yeah, if you're starting from scratch, don't worry, we'll all go through all this, everything. We're starting from scratch, we'll go till the end, so no need to worry about it. If your project is percentage based, quality percentage, defect percentage, anything percentage based, then it will be the right one. If your project is count based, like count of error, count of product manufactured, count of transactions processed, count of something, you have to do the rest. If your project is variation based, you want to reduce the variation in the process. Well, depending on that, you will be end up taking tests. So we'll talk about all this. There are a lot of tests that the black belt will end up learning. So that's just a like a basic like beginning part of it, like so. But yeah, we will talk about that later. But that's how we do the goal part of it. We do have a role to play in terms of the statistical approach. We explain people how what is possible from your data. That's what the goal statement is. Is it okay with everyone, the goal statement part? Is it fine?
Sir, can
Shashi,
you please?
Shashi,
Yeah,
Shashi,
yeah.
can you come back on the? Can you please just one more time explain?
Exactly, sir. Could you please explain it once again?
Okay, perfect. So we talking about which part? The entire goal statement part?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's fine. That's fine. Okay, cool. So when we talk about the goal statement, we got to keep this both the logic in mind. It has to be short and simple. That you can't just make a lengthy statement, lengthy goals. Goal statement has to be very short and simple, straightforward. No extra words. Just try to keep it as short as possible, and it has to be smart statement. So smart statement, when we say, let's kind of relate it with the statement. This one, I'm saying it's a correct one. Let's understand why it's correct one. Is it specific? Yes, it's specific. 85 to 90%. No more like vague saying like, what I will improve your quality. So I know how much you're talking about. 85 to 90%. Measurable? Yes, we're able to measure that. Attainable? Yes, we've been doing it. This is something not new to us. We can easily achieve this. We have done it in the past. Our competitors are doing. Market standard says it's what is feasible. Practically, we know it's attainable. Relevant, yes, I'm not talking about anything else. I'm just sticking on to quality. I'm not talking about anything else for sure. And it has an end date. Projects by nature, which will have a specific start date and end date. So yes, it qualifies the smart statement. Now, the blunder I can make with this is by explaining it after that. Well, you ended here, but if I continue writing that if you improve the quality from this to this, what will happen? Well, you'll regain the market share, you'll reinstate your agency rating, because that's what you said. Because of this problem statement, we have been paying penalties, and our market share has gone down. Our agency rating has dropped. Well, sorry, that's a different project. Because if you, like I'm sure these problems happen because you did not maintain the quality. But what is still your project? Your project is about quality. Your project is not about improving market share. Your project is not about improving agency ratings. Your project is quality. Yes, we will do a project in quality and you're going to get it back. I'm sure you will get the rest of it, but I'm doing nothing to improve your market share. I'm doing nothing to improve your agency rating. So why should I take the ownership for that? Practically not. Yes, by the virtue of what I do with quality, you will get some benefit, and I'm sure you will get these benefits. I will take the credit for it when I share my end of the project, when I share the cost benefit analysis, that this is what we gain by doing the project. Yes, I will take the credit for that, but that's what I will not take an ownership or accountability for this. Otherwise, like practically, I'll be doing 3 projects in one, which is like practically management will be definitely happy, but you will have like a nightmare during the entire project, because you will always be kind of juggling between multiple projects at the same time. One project in itself will become a big challenge, so you will be managing like 3 things at the same time. It's highly not advisable to do that. We're coming back to the project failures. Why projects fail? Again, we talked about.
How do you say there are 3 projects in this?
Yeah, the agency rating, reinstating the agency rating. We were like we said that our agency rating has been degraded from excellent to poor. So yes, so if you want to write it in the goal statement, it becomes your ownership. We've said that our market share has gone down from 33 to 24%. But if you write it in your goal statement that yes, you will retain the market share, well then it becomes your ownership. But is the project about ownership, like market share, agency rating? No, that has happened because you've not maintained the quality. So I'll stick to quality only.
Okay. So basically, we should only focus on the quality aspect.
Absolutely. Whatever is the problem, just stick to it. Then don't get into the after effects of it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Don't over explain it. Is it okay with everyone, the goal statement part?
Got it, sir. Got it.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Now comes the scope. Now scope is already explained here. Like just where we're still talking about it. Scope is another reason where we fail, because projects will fail because if you end up increasing or going beyond your boundaries, what is expected. Now, what was expected is quality only. So let's say now we will have 2 scopes in this one. We'll have in scope, what is that you will cover in the project, and out of scope, what you will not cover in the project. It should be crystal clear. It should not, I don't want to get into a blame game later on that I meant something, you understood something. Sorry. We don't want that. So I will clearly explain what will I cover in the project and what will I not cover in the project. Like an example here. And I'll again make a mistake here just to make sure we understand what mistakes can we make. So quality percentage for say ABC client, whatever we're talking about. That's what is in scope. We're going to cover only quality percentage for this whatever client we're talking about, ABC client. Now, what is out of scope? Other metrics of ABC client. and other clients. Sorry, I'm not looking into it. So that's out of scope for me. Now, just a basic, like let's understand it from like where we can make a mistake. And I'm telling you basis how people do make these mistakes in industry. Now, say my business works in 3 different locations. I have offices in 3 different locations. Say I have got Dubai, I've got Riyadh, and I've got say Singapore. So we have got 3 different locations, and same client, ABC client work is getting done at all the 3 locations. So ABC client work gets done here, here, here. And companies say, I work in Dubai. That's my location. And technically, that's where I want to do this project. Your project doesn't say you're talking about Dubai. My understanding is that you are improving the ABC client. That means you're trying to improve all the location. Your scope boundaries are not clear. When you left it like this as stakeholder, my understanding that you're improving all different locations. Yes, then I have to make sure that it's clear at Dubai location. And other metrics, other locations and metrics of ABC client and other clients. That will be crystal clear. So there should not be any confusion in what you want to work on and what they probably might understand. It's very important to get this clear so that we don't get into hassles later on. And that it happens when you don't clarify things, it will always get there. So it's very important to make it very, very clear. So no more confusions. This is all what you will get to see from my end. That's it. Well, I have taken this responsibility. It will be fixed. Simple as that. Is scope okay with everyone? It's a simple one, but still good to understand where we can go wrong. Is it okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes, sir. Very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Coming to the team part. Now, since you have not got the project yet, the team, you can't get the team right now because you are seeking an approval. But you already have some people in the, like, you're putting together all these materials. So you already have your sponsor. That's a project team. Obviously, sponsor cannot be taken out of the equation. Champion is also part of it. You yourself, you're part of it. Probably you have some green belt also. You have some general manager in, say, wherever department you're working in. Okay, this person has also already been working with you to put together information, get you the project done, because this project is related to some process, production process, operation process, whatever. And this guy sort of manages the entire stuff. And then you have some, say, supervisor also has been allocated. Somebody from quality department is also there. These are the people who have been with us during this entire thing. So technically, I will add up team members. These people will not be the one who will be the active team members who would not be doing things. Obviously, you need people who will be doing and executing the task. But yes, you do have certain people who are the key. I would say this is my core committee of the project team. I do need those people, which I'll add once I get the project approved. So for now, I have these people to start with. Moving on, because we are filling up this basic template, and the milestone part, milestones are basically define phase, measure phase, analyze phase, improve phase, and control phase. The different phases, your start date of every phase and end date of every phase. Now the question comes in, I haven't started the project. How do I know the start date and end date right now? For now, just keep that in mind, like for now, because we will talk about that. But yes, you need to have tentative, see, Six Sigma works on a agile methodology, not 100% agile, but it's a hybrid method. So it has waterfall method and the agile method also. It's a combination of it. At the end of every phase, so you will have a tentative timelines initially decided and discussed, and how do we do it? We are going to cover that. So basically, we'll have the initial high-level timelines decided for every phase. And generally, what happens at the end of every phase, there is something what we call as,
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
You said something related to agile methodology. This word is nowadays quite often used in the technology industry. What exactly is it?
See, there are 2 ways to kind of go ahead and deal the process. Technically, there can be multiple ways, but one is very hard coded, which is like rules bounded, and there are specific tools and techniques. The PMP one, It used to just talk about very hard-coded, rules-bounded, process-oriented, absolutely crystal clear. You have to follow this rules and stuff. That's we call as more like a waterfall method. In a waterfall method, basically what happens that customer has some expectations, and then you deliver the product, and then the customer reviews when the product or service is delivered. And
Okay.
customer may or may not like the product, and in the end, it's quite possible. And then
Okay.
we will suffer because of that. Agile methodology is what we allow the customer to keep reviewing us at a frequent time interval, and the customer keeps giving you feedback. So you have multiple checkpoints where you keep taking the feedback. Okay, we have completed, say, part number one. Please help us understand. Is it okay with you? Fine with you? Okay, good job. Do you have any inputs or feedback? Let us know. So we continually taking the feedback, improving the product at like a by being in constant touch with the customer. Your client would
Okay.
review it, and that's how your product will never be a surprise to the customer in the end. So it's what we go out of the regular convention way of doing a work. So if you're
Actually, so it is nothing else, nothing technical, right, sir? It is
no, no, no.
only
It's common sense. See, there are different ways of doing it.
no.
Project.
So far, I was thinking that it is something technical.
No, 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 absolutely not. Absolutely not. See, when we
Okay.
talk about the agile methodology, practically the older version of project management was absolutely hard coded. The agile methodology was absolutely again opposite to that. Now, company people like if the latest version, the Pinbox version, which we have just released, post this COVID, every this logic which were like hardcore, you do this only, and that's the only way to do it. Sorry, the world has realized this. You can't be so rigid. You don't
Okay.
know. Every customer is different. Every situation is different. You cannot have a standard rule and this is what it is. No, sorry. You have to look at the customer differently. Every situation is different, and you cannot define a rule that this is the only tool you can do. No, based on the situation, based on the customer, you continue like improvising, and that's what is more about being agile, being flexible. So now the Pinbox version has the PMP version has 50% of waterfall, 50% of agile methodologies. Even the biggest change that has ever happened in PMI is this version, the Pinbox 7 version, which we are looking at now. So it is technically now more relevant in the real world rather than just a basic good to do no information. But yeah, now this one is more realistic approach. So when we talk about Six Sigma, it works on a blended approach, a hybrid approach. It has a waterfall method, which is certain rules, regulations, standards, stuff which we follow. Plus, it is agile also because what we do is we keep getting we keep
अरे मैं
getting
देख लेता हूँ 2 सीटी ले लेंगे तुम रहने दो
one quick second, I guess. So we keep getting reviewed at the end of every phase. So at the end of define phase, when you're done with the define phase, you have a management review done with the champion. Champion will review at the end of define phase and say, well, this is what we planned, how things are going on, what are the things which are working for you, what are the things which are not working for us, what help do you need from our end. So we get review done at every phase end. And that's when you keep improvising. So you're given an approval, yes, your previous phase is satisfactory, this is taken care of, you're given approval to get into next phase. So at the end of every phase, the champion review will happen. So that's what I would say, like it's more of a blended approach. The way we work in a particular phase is a waterfall method, but it still goes through a review mechanism. And trust you deal with your project the way you want. In the end, the customer is just looking for a result. That's it. But yes, that's how we go about updating the project charter. Once we're done with the project charter, we actually when we submit the project charter, your management would obviously look into it and they would review the project charter, if at all, if that makes sense to them. And given what you've done, they're happy with it. They will be. We generally call that as a kickoff meeting, and that's where the formal approval is given that your project is approved. We're ready to invest in your project. Now's the time you go and start selecting the people. You've got to get your project started. So there are two ways you can get people aligned to your project. One, somebody in the higher management just allocates, these are the people who are in your project team, which is technically not the right way to deal with it. But yeah, we do have a tool which we generally use. It's just called GRPL method to select team members. Now let's understand. So when we roll out a project, we generally do one thing. We send out a communication in the entire organization that we are going to start a project and we need people who have done Six Sigma, have idea about Six Sigma, or if you're even if you're interested in Six Sigma project, even if you don't have a background, it's fine. But if you want to participate, so generally you get nominations. Now, what we do is we rate these people. So we get nominations, and we will be rating these people on 4 different parameters. One is goals of the project, roles of different individuals, the process knowledge where the project is going to be done, whatever process we're working on to improve that one, and finally personnel skills, whatever this is. Okay, perfect. 4 different parameters. So all these say we got 8 different nominations, and these people have been recommended or whatever they applied for to be a part of the project team. Now we call for a meeting. Everyone is in the meeting room where you all the core committee that you had. They will be giving them a brief that this is what we're going to do. A project is required. So we've decided to start a Six Sigma project to improve this quality problem, and this is the agenda. Why we will explain about the goals. What is that we want to achieve by doing this project? Why is it needed, why it's so difficult, and all that stuff, why we are doing it. So we'll explain them the reason. What would be the expected activities or roles of different individuals in different phases of Six Sigma. We'll just briefly talk about that. We'll explain about the process where the problem is happening, how bad is the problem, what is the need, and all that stuff, process related, some information. And then we will let them sit down and brainstorm. Brainstorming activity will continue to happen between them. While they're doing it, we are judging them. We are judging them, we are reviewing them, and it's going to be the entire panel will sit together, will sort of evaluate them on these 4 different metrics. How good they are as a team, like interpersonal skills. Do I respect you, or do I just like, if I don't like your idea, how do I react to it? Do I tell you that you don't make sense, or I have a better way of, because in the end, see, I need people. I don't need Einstein. I need team members who can work together as a team. Well, there's enough strategy people who are there who will look into the strategy part. I don't need anyone to kind of go and come up with the fancy strategies. I want people who can follow instructions and take care of the instruction and get them executed. So I need proper team members. I'm okay with average, mediocre people. It's okay. I need people who can work as team. So practically, you have these 4 different parameters, and we end up giving them the rating. So as a team, collectively. So I'm randomly putting some numbers. So please pardon me if you see any variations here. I'm just trying to kind of add some numbers. So we have given unanimously we have given some rating on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being low, 5 being the best. So we've given some rating, random numbers just created here. Now you can do some of these ratings and select your best candidate who has got the maximum rating, and that becomes your best guy on the 4 designated parameters that you've kept here. So highest rating will be preferred, and we would always go ahead and take those people as a valid, like, so these are the good people which would like to take care of, like, use in the project. Let me just try to kind of revise these ratings just for a second. Let me just try out. Just trying to see if we can get some more. Okay. So we're done. But practically, we would like to kind of pick up the best one. So we got this guy is the best. Then we have who's the second one. This guy is the best. And say I needed 3 people. So 7, and we have got, so this guy is the best. So we got these 3 people shortlisted for the team, and my job is done. So these 3 people have scored highest on these parameters that I was looking for, and I hired them for my project. So that's one way of doing it. Now, bottom line, it's a tool. You customize the way you want. I do customize in my projects. It's simple as that. For me, they're not same. They're not equal. These metrics are different from each other. So I would rather do it a little differently, same stuff, but in a different way. So I would rather customize and give weightages. I won't take these absolute values. I'll give weightage, and you decide what your goals are. And you see, it's a tool. You're going to take the standard way of using this same score. But I don't think that every metric is equally important. I can still teach you about the goal of the project. I can teach you about the roles. Probably during the group discussion, you're not that clear. Probably you come from a different department. You don't have a clarity about the process. It's fine. But most important thing is this is character. I can't teach you this because I can't sit down and keep settling your disputes all day long. Sorry, don't have the time for that. So I need people who work towards. So this for me, this has highest weightage. I will give weightage to this one. So I can, like you do, like we can pick up anything. So I take only 10% out of it, only 10%. Well, free is this one because it's same 10% for all of them. So I'll take only 10% of for this first three metrics, and I'll take 70% of this one. So I will make sure that I select, give more weightage to the factor which matters me most. Ultimately, I need team members. So I'll take the sum of it. And now I'll pick up the team member, which may be different from what I got. My best team member is, we've got 4.2. Well, this guy gets selected. 4.2. Let's change the color. We've got 4.1 here. Got 4.1. See, let's have a quick look at it. This guy is the best in terms of communication team skills. Would not get picked up in this case. And may not be clear about the roles, probably comes from a different process. Not clear about, I could teach you this, but I can't teach you this. This guy is very good here, but I can't teach you I can teach you other stuff. I can't teach you anything else. So practically in this case, when I'm going and emphasizing on the factors where it matters more, these people will get picked up where it matters most. Because in the end, I need team members. I'm not selecting a team manager. I need team member who can work together. So that's how you customize the way you want. And this is a tool only. So I hope it's okay. It's a simple stuff, but still a confirmation would be fine. Is it okay with everyone?
Sir, in team selection, you have given formula, right? Random between numbers. So how do you change frequently that numbers?
Between 1 and 5. I leave it. So I always copy paste it will, I always copy paste to keep randomize. Say this is multiple values. If I keep pasting the values once again, formula once again, it'll always keep on changing this because the formula is still there. It's always going to randomize. The moment I do this, it will keep changing. The moment I do this, it will keep changing. So once I leave it as it is, I'll have to kind of paste special. So I fix the values as it is. Otherwise, it will keep randomizing it.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. So is it okay with everyone? This is the team selection part.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Now you got your team, right? So you have to put them together. So get everyone in a meeting room, all the relevant stakeholders. We get in a meeting room and we get the project management tools prepared. So everyone in the project team will be required to participate in this activity. So what we do is we, first of all, list down and we want to develop a communication plan, again coming from project management. So communication plan is required to make sure that everyone in the team is crystal clear about what activities we will do. I don't want to do a reactive thing where people generally will keep asking questions and you keep responding to them, you keep getting emails, you keep responding to them. Sorry, most of the time we do a reactive work. In a project environment, we have to be proactive. We have to plan and follow the plan. Simple as that. So that's why a communication plan is required. So we streamline everything that we want to do. Communication means every possible communication, verbal, written, virtual, any communication for which you have to communicate with team or people, you have to list it down. Let's understand how. So we have we all get everyone in a meeting room and we start discussing what all kind of reports we'll need. Say somebody says daily report, okay. Weekly report, monthly report, quarterly report, okay. These are the reports. What about daily meetings? So we will be conducting some daily meetings, pre-shift meeting, post-shift meeting. Well, during whenever the brainstorming happens, any meeting happens, somebody needs to take down the minutes of the meeting and then send out what was discussed in the meeting to everyone. Weekly team meetings, monthly team meetings, toll get review. That's also communication. You will be being reviewed by the champion at the end of every stage. Any new requirement, leaves, complaints, feedbacks, whatever comes to your mind, please make it an exhaustive list. Cover up every possible communication that you can think of as a team. Now, once you're done with these activities, you have to think about who is going to be the recipient. Now, just think about a financial report. Do you want to send a financial report to everyone in the company? No. Not every report is meant for everyone. Not every meeting is meant for everyone. So you will define who will be a part of that communication well in advance. So everyone is sitting together, including the champion. So you'll sit down, okay, who needs to get the daily report? So you'll understand who should be getting the daily report. Obviously, I don't want to spam my CEO mailbox with daily reports. Well, as a team, whatever who needs it, we'll have it listed here. So the emails will go out to these people for daily reports. We all agreed, okay, perfect. For weekly reports, we included the sponsor also. Monthly report, we included sponsor. Quarterly report, we like so. It's unanimously agreed that who needs to get this report. Daily meeting. Obviously, I will not get the champion for daily meeting. So team members is they come in the green belt, black belt, the manager, the supervisor, all the relevant people who will be actually working on it. You would exclude obviously champion from this. You would have the minister meeting who needs to get it. So all the people in the project team. You'll have listed like so say for example meetings, team meetings going to happen. Who are required in the weekly team meeting? Who are required in the monthly team meeting? The toll gate review. Who are required? So you'll have this listed like there is a leave requirement. Who is supposed to be contacted? The manager, complaint manager. You'll have like whosoever it is, just discuss as a group and you fix it. Simple as that. You decided as a team, everyone agreed to it. Perfect. We're done with this. Mode of communication, how this communication will be done. Obviously, these are reports, email. Daily meetings, obviously, face-to-face meeting. We'll be doing a face-to-face communication with each other. Minutes of the meeting, email communication. Weekly team meetings, face-to-face. Like probably toll gate reviews are going to happen. Probably a champion is at a different location. Probably a sponsor is at a different location. Then we'll have a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting, some sort of virtual meeting. You got to get this clear. So people will not come back and say later on, I was not aware of it. So crystal clear how that communication is going to happen. Like complaints, leaves, feedbacks. First send me an email and then a meeting. First an email, then a meeting. So I exactly know what you're going to come and meet me for. So I would describe exactly how this communication is supposed to happen. Obviously, we'll designate somebody who will be doing that communication, who will do that communication, who will be the backup. I don't want to look for last minute backup like, oh, this guy is not turned up, he's not well, so who will do it? No, sorry, it's already decided. No more confusions about it. So we'll decide very well in the beginning who will be the one who will do it, who will be the backup, and then the frequency part. Very important. Now, daily report doesn't mean daily. What daily means, do you want me to wait entire day for your report? No. You must tell me what time. Weekly report. Well, frequency is weekly. No, that's wrong. Weekly, do you want me to wait on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which day? And what time? It has to be clear. So don't come when this weekly report is supposed to come out on Wednesday. Don't come back on Monday and ask me for weekly report. Simple as that. You know what time, what day? Well, beyond 3 p.m., yes, I'm answerable. Till 3 p.m., don't come back and ask me for the same thing. You know who's supposed to send, what time, what day. It's already planned, agreed with the team. Stick to it. Simple as that. Daily meetings. When it's going to happen? Daily. What time? I'm sure there will be meeting room. There are limited meeting rooms. You got to block those meeting rooms. Well, there is a weekly team meeting going to happen. Okay, well, what day, what time, which meeting room? Block everyone's calendar. You know, these people will be engaged in the meeting. So block calendar in advance. Don't come back until, well, I was not aware. No, sorry, calendar was blocked. You agreed to this. We have everything crystal clear. This communication is standard. Everyone's calendar will be blocked. So practically, based on the whatever you've decided, so based on whatever you have as timelines, you will sit down and plan this as a team. Once you've done it, pretty much this is frozen. Simple as that. No changes to this communication plan will be allowed. Well, is that like we never make changes? No, we do make changes, but it's very, very difficult to make changes in a communication plan because we do not want this to become just another activity. Otherwise, people will start taking, well, I'm sorry, this week, I know, I'm busy. I have that meeting, I have this meeting. Sorry, your calendars are already blocked. Unless until there's a client meeting or something really important, when do that change will happen? Let's have a look at it. Once communication plan is finalized, no changes can be made. Changes in terms of no addition, no deletion or modification is allowed. So you cannot do anything unless until there's a proper change management protocol method followed. Now, what is meaning of a change management protocol method? Proper written approval. No verbal approval will be entertained. So, well, if you need an Excel report on Monday, well, our report is supposed to go on Wednesday. You need a report on Monday? Please be my guest. No problem. I'll give you a report on Monday also. Please get me written approval. Convince the management when we're already publishing one report on Wednesday, why you need an extra report on Monday? If you're able to convince them, I don't have a problem. I'll get extra resource, extra budget, extra time. But right now, sorry, unless I get a formal approval, well, if you are going to change this particular plan, well, if you are not available, well, just go and get it, get a confirmation if you want the meeting to be rescheduled, postponed for some other, because it's not just you. Everyone's time will be hampered with that. Everyone's schedule will get hampered. So yes, if there's something, the client has some external client has kept a meeting, obviously, then you have to prioritize that. So yes, you will. This person will seek an approval that we have a client meeting with XYZ client, and we need this to be postponed. Well, you get an approval, I do that, no problem. We make it that stringent, so you people will not take you for a ride that every week 2 or 3 people are coming and asking you to reschedule the meeting. Sorry, we make it very stringent. It will only be done if there is a proper formal approval. That's about the communication plan. Now, please do let me know if you have any questions about it. Anyone?
Can you tell about tollgate review once?
Tollgate reviews are basically at the end of every phase. You will be going through a management review, which is technically with the champion. Sponsor may or may not be there. So sponsor, the champion would try to, so the define phase got over. You obviously go back to the champion saying, we want to start the measure phase. So this is the status. Well, the champion would definitely like to understand what is it working as per the plan? Are we meeting the timeline? Are there any challenges? What do you want from us? And practically just would like to understand how things are going. Do you think there are certain things which can be done better? What additional help do you need from us? It's this guy's project, champion's project. This guy would try to help you in every possible way. So this meeting is more of to understand where we stand and what help is required from our end to help you kind of carry on the project successfully. At end of every phase, you will have this review done for every phase.
Also ticket yeah. So
Is it okay with everyone?
yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Yep.
Now, you don't let these people go out of the meeting. Why? Because you have to get another activity completed, Razi or RASIC. Razi is used by PMP, people who go by PMP logic, they use Razi. Six Sigma people have added an extra S in it by making it RASIC. So you don't lose anything by using a RASIC, you are adding to Razi. So what is this Razi? Let's understand this. It's a rules and responsibility delegation activity. We're giving responsibilities to different people who will do what, because you're not going to do it. Somebody needs to do it. So first of all, let's understand the difference between Razi and RASIC. When we talk about Razi, R stands for responsible, A for accountable, C for consulted, and I for informed. That's a responsibility. We'll understand what's the meaning of what. RASIC is more like same. Responsible becomes responsible, same. Accountable is called approver. Support is new in this one. Informed is informed, and consulted is consulted. So you're not losing anything. You're just adding in something to the support in this RASIC model. So we prefer using a RASIC rather than just a Razi. So technically, there's no difference there. Coming to, there is one difference which we'll talk about, but that's what it doesn't. It's not too much of the showstopper. So we'll come to that stage. We'll discuss about it. So your entire team is sitting with you in the meeting room. What do you start with? List down every activity from define till control. Write down everything from beginning till control, whatever you, because you would have understanding of all these tools, what comes first, second, third, fourth. You'll write down every single activity that you need to do from define till control. Then it comes, break down every activity into task, smaller tasks. Keep breaking down till you cannot further break it down. That's what we call as work package. In the language of project management, the smallest unit of task which cannot be further broken down is called a work package. And you add up all these work packages, it becomes work breakdown structure, WBS. So that's what we do. We'll have everything from top to bottom added like so. So we first define activities as a big task, big activity level. We break down those activities as small tasks and keep breaking it down. So it's not a small one, it's a huge document. that you end up creating, and it's good. If it takes you 1 day to make a RASIC, please take 2 days. It's good. Once you've invested this time in RASIC properly, you will have a peaceful life throughout the project. Just sit and relax. Why? We'll understand it in a moment. Then comes sequence the activities. So you sequence the activities in the order it needs to be done. So first activity, second activity, third activity, fourth. So in the sequence in which this activities needs to be completed. Once you do that sequencing, then you go about giving the responsibilities to people. Now, how do you do it? Let's first of all look at some tasks which we have already done here, just to give an idea how it's done. Say, first of all, this is where one activity we have to do. Like I'm just giving an example for one activity: collect voice of customer. So to collect voice of customer, as a team, we decided that we will do survey, we will do mystery shopping, we'll do customer interviews, and so on and so forth. We decided as a team we will adopt 3 different methods of collecting voice of customer. That was activity. Survey is a big activity. So can I be an expert in doing a survey for everything? No, probably. Absolutely. I may not know everything. So what we do is we break down survey. To do survey, I need to define and create my audience, like who I need to survey. I need to decide that first. Once I decided, I need to create a survey form. Once I create a survey form, I need to circulate the survey form. Once I circulate it, I need to conduct the survey, and then I have to compile the results from the survey. So what we do is we first decided broad level, major activities that you have to do. We break it down and we continue breaking it down till you get one single task. I'm not telling you to complete survey. No. You just help me understand who will be my right audience. Who should I survey? Who should be the right survey? So you define the audience for me. Okay. You just create the survey form. Don't do it. Don't circulate. Don't do the survey. Just create the survey form. What questions should be asked? How it should be asked? Let's just create survey form. One task. Your job, the survey form is created. You circulate. Get it distributed. Well, you just conduct the survey. You just compile. So one task. We are talking about breaking this down into task level activities. You have absolute clarity of what is needed to be done from beginning till end, every single task. Whenever your project will get stopped, you know what task is not done. Exactly. Task 1 completed, task 2 completed, 3 hasn't been completed. Why? You know what is waiting for. Practically, you would exactly know if you break a detailed RASIC. So how we plot it, we get all the relevant, all the stakeholders in this team, like sponsor, champion, green belt, black belt, manager 1, 2, 3, quality, all the team members we have selected, we list them here. Now we start with our activities of giving responsibilities. So based on the task which we need to complete, like creating audience, this is a task, one single task. We will see what skills are required to complete this task. So every task needs a different skill, a specialized skill. Not every task is same. It's like analyzing data is a different skill. Collecting data is another skill. So different skills are required for different tasks. So we'll see what task needs to be completed, what skills are required for that task, and then we'll see who in the team has that skills. So unanimously, everyone will agree, well, this guy definitely is a good person, like he knows how to do it. He has done it so many times. So yes, we can allocate. So what we do is we assign that person as responsible. Mutual agreement, everyone believes unanimously, okay. Remember the thumb rule is we only assign one person responsibility. One task, one person. I'm not giving you a massive one. I'm just telling you do one thing, that's it. So one person, one responsibility, that's thumb rule, mandatory. And every task must have a responsible. You cannot have more than one responsible. So every task must have a responsible and only one. You cannot have a task with no responsible. While we use the Razi model, there you can use multiple responsible. That's the difference between RASIC and Razi. In Razi model, yes, for every task you can have multiple responsible people also. In RASIC, we only give one task, one person. It's always said, a lot of cooks spoil the broth. We don't want that. Say 2 people are given a task to complete. You will feel that I'll do the job. I'll feel that you will do the job. It will not be done. We don't want that. Only one task. You do it. That's your responsibility. Unanimously agreed. You also agreed. Simple. So you are responsible. So what we do is we go to this activity list and we say creating survey form. Well, quality guy, you have been doing this service quite often, like you guys are expert in doing this. Can you do this? Yes, I can do it. Well, responsible. Perfect. I can do it. That's not a problem. Creating a survey form. Yes, we know how to do it. So this guy is responsible. So everyone agreed this. These guys have been doing a lot of service. So well, this guy has got required skill set. Good job. Circulating survey form. So we need to circulate the survey form. It's the supervisor knows everyone in the operations team. Well, this guy can get it done. So responsible. Well, yes, I can do it. It's not a big deal. Everyone is my team. Well, great job. What else? Next activity. We have to conduct the survey. Get the responsibility of the manager. So this guy is the one who is some has some authority. Will get the survey conducted by help of whatever help we will talk about later. But your responsibility to get this survey completed, getting it done. Now, when the survey is conducted, compiling the result back to the quality because you guys are specialists in this survey kind of thing. Well, I don't want to give you responsibility of operations job. So you look into that part only, and we will have the operation work taken care of by operation people. Simple. So you look at the task, and given that, you give the responsibility. Is the responsible part clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Perfect. Once you have given the responsibility as A, then what we do is we look for when responsible has completed the task. Somebody needs to check and verify is it done correctly or not. What if it's done incorrectly? So there is always a maker and a checker process. Like in ISO. ISO you can be implementer, but you cannot be an auditor. You can be an auditor, but you cannot be the implementer. So you can't be both. And that's what happens here also. One person does it, another person checks it. So again, thumb rule, one approver. Even in Razi, you have a condition of one approver only. I'm sure. Can you tell me who has dual reporting, 2 bosses or 3 bosses to report?
One boss.
One boss only.
No, so like functionally an admin in MNC culture nowadays, we have the bosses. But
Multiple reportings. Do you
yeah,
have
multiple.
it
Yeah.
is a nightmare when you have when you have to manage expectation of 2 different bosses at the same time. One says you're right, another says you're wrong, you're done. Somebody will get offended for sure because whosoever you will go with, the other person will take it on his ego. It happens, so we do not want that kind of issue happening in the project team. So yes, it's always the thumb rule. One person, just you have to match one person's expectation. So one person does it, another person checks and verifies. Yes, it's done correctly. I am satisfied. I've checked it. So generally, the approval will be little higher up in the management from the responsible party. So based on their job role, so we decide who will check and verify. So again, thumb rule: every activity must have an approver and only one. So responsible party does it. Who will check? Is it the right kind of audience has been selected? The manager, because he knows the business process. So this guy is the manager. Everyone agrees unanimously. Okay, fine, job done. Creating the survey form, well, this guy has done it. Who will verify it? So the manager too probably has been given the responsibility. You will check and verify. It looks good, fine, okay. Circulate it. Well, circulation manager, because supervisor was doing it, and this second manager will check and verify. It's been done. So everyone has been covered. I have checked and verified. Good job done by supervisor. Okay. This guy does it. Well, champion will check and verify the conduct service has been conducted completely and all that. Okay, well, we agree with that. Compiling the survey results, or manager A has been given, one has been given the responsibility to confirm that the results are satisfactorily done. So this person does it, another person checks it. So generally higher up in the management who will check and verify, I've checked it, and it's all good to go. So one person checks it, another person verifies. Technically, when you've done responsible approver, your RASIC is complete. Why? Because SIC is need basis, not mandatory. Now let's understand when do we use SIC, support, inform, and consult. So when all activity has one responsible, one approver. So this person will do it, this other person will check and verify. So we talk to this person. I go back to this guy. Mr. So-and-so, the quality guy, do you need help in defining the audience? Or you can do it on your own. It's easy, simple stuff. You can do it on your own. Yes, I can do it on my own. Like, it's not a big deal. I can do it on my own. So I don't need any support. I can define that audience. It's fine. Okay. Well, no support required. Okay. To create a survey form, Yes, it would be great if I can get some help, like because HR people also been doing that stuff. And if you can allocate the green belt because of the Six Sigma culture, it will be good to have these people. Well, responsibility is still the responsible person. These people can help when they're needed. So these people will help when they are required. But yes, responsibility still lies with the responsible. So support will be asked by the person who is responsible. Given one task can be a bigger task, like conducting a survey. Well, conducting a survey need help. You need manpower, some people. So yeah, green belt can be a support, and probably I will involve my team members, which I've selected. You guys help him to get the survey conducted and completed. Even to circulate the survey form, you need some help. So support can be allocated depending on how big the task is. And yes, but responsibility still lies with you. In similarly, if you feel again there's no need of support, let it be. It's not mandatory. Inform is like you mark a CC on an email. Like so, when you want to keep somebody in the loop, you want to keep somebody informed that we have started this activity. This is the status of the activity. We have completed the activity. Somebody will be kept informed. If you feel the task is important and you need to keep somebody informed or in loop, you will mark that person as informed. Otherwise, not required. Like we were doing this. This guy was sort of defining the audience. So while he was defining audience, he wanted to keep these managers in the loop. You cannot dual responsible, which is fine, but just you cannot have 2R and 2A. That's just what you got to keep in mind. No 2R and no 2A. So this person was kept into loop, these two managers, while they were defining the audience. So they can, if they find that quality guy is not doing it right, they can come and they can sort of give their suggestion, feedback. Guy, you're not doing it correctly. I saw your email or I saw your inputs. I'm sort of not happy. You've not picked up the right audience because they know their business. So inform somebody whom you feel there is a need to inform, and there is a this guy should be kept in the loop. Creating the survey form. Do you want to inform everyone? No, we just work doing it. And we don't need to tell the world that we have started drafting the survey. No, it's not a big deal. So I already have support, so we all work together and get it done. So we don't need to inform. Circulating survey form, you don't want to tell everyone that we have started circulating. No, but yeah, we would definitely want to inform some people that we are conducting a survey. Yeah, champion will be informed, black belt will be informed, managers will be informed, and so on and so forth. So practically, we will pick up I when it's needed. You need to keep somebody in the loop that we are doing if it's a meaningful activity. Otherwise, just leave it. Consult is similar to your again, it's a need basis. These people would be generally higher up, like they will be senior people who can be blocked by the responsible as advisory. What if I get stuck? So I'm the best guy who knows this task. If I get stuck, I am blocking you in advance. If I get stuck, I will reach out to you for guidance. So these people will never do the job. They will guide you. You can reach out to them and they will. So you are saying that only if I get stuck, I'll reach out to you. I'm blocking you in advance. So you can block somebody as an advisor. Generally could be a champion or a manager or a black belt, can be blocked by the people as advisory. So if I need help, I'll reach out. Like green belt will generally keep advisory or consult option as black belt. So when a green belt is doing a project under your guidance, you will generally be, see, ideally the green belt knows their job, but what if they get stuck? But who are they going to reach out to? Obviously you, because that's where they know you have more knowledge, more skills and stuff like that. So practically you will be the consult option. You would not be required every time, but whenever this guy gets stuck, well, obviously you are the only point of contact for the green belt to guide and help. What do I do next? I'm not able to analyze this data. I don't know how to go about collecting this data, and like whatever challenges. So these people will not do the job. They will just be guiding, advising based on their experience, knowledge. So somebody who's higher up in the management is generally taken as a consult option. So that's how you plot. Again, these three roles are need basis. Now, if you're okay, please do let me know, because that's what we do in RASIC. We give roles and responsibility in the RASIC, two different people. Based on the skill set, based on the task, we do this RASIC development. Any questions out of RASIC?
Clear.
Okay. How about others? Like so, today it seems
Yeah,
to
it's
be
clear. It's clear. No questions.
It's a little low on energy or what? Like, so, lot of, like, generally we have been hearing,
Today's session is heavily loaded, sir.
it is. And so see, technically, these are the project management tools which we end up learning in a PMP. But
Yeah.
these are tools which will be required for us, and we will be required to have like the basic understanding, right? And if you look at a sample project, I think like it's already there in the Google Drive or not. If not, I think must have pasted a sample project out there. Just let me quickly check and validate. I will definitely be placing a, otherwise, like, so you will be able to see through a basic sample project, which where you will see that these are tools required, because this, whatever you're doing right now, you will definitely be looking at this journey, because these activities that you're doing, you will be required to have certain. So this is like the sample one. It has all those elements that you will be seeing in a basic like a project. Right. Moving on to a different. Okay, let me just open up this file from here itself, or probably a different project. That's the one. So these tools will be required. So you just template. These are just templates. But yes, you have to sit with the team and update this template so that you get to know how it's done. So your ISO model and all that stuff. Project charter. We will be doing all that's a part of lean aspect. Communication plan. Razi chart. Classic or Razi, basically. Do all that stuff. So it is just going to help you guide through the entire project. It's a roadmap. It's a roadmap for your entire project. It tells you what to do, what not to do. If you have a basic project RASIC developed, you can just sit and relax. So please make it an exhaustive RASIC as much as you can. Keep breaking it down, because when you know exactly what needs to be done, as a good, so you got to understand the basic difference. And I'm sure we all understand this, that the difference between a leader and a manager is very clear. Leader does it, manager does nothing. And trust, the only person who should be seen doing nothing in an organization is the manager. If you are the one doing something as a manager, we seriously need to improve. We lack the managerial skills there. Manager does nothing. The role says manage, not about doing it. You should be the one who's doing, who should be seen doing nothing. Strategizing, visualizing, giving responsibilities to people, but not doing it yourself. You can't be doing it. I'm not supposed to do it. I'm supposed to get it done. So, yes, you got to use the RASIC as a template, as a method, which will be a roadmap for your project. Why? Because every single thing that you need to do in the project from a sequence wise, you have it. You know who to ask questions. You know, the best of the plans can be made on Excel. We can make fancy plans, but most of those plans are never implemented. And the plans which gets implemented are not followed up. The best way to follow up on a plan is to get a RASIC in place. You know exactly who to ask questions. Where my work gets stuck, I know who is the culprit. And that's what I will be doing. So what I do is RASIC is, once it's done, I will develop something which is next to it. Here, let me just give you a quick summary. That RASIC is over, but I can have the dates here. So let me just give a basic idea why it will help me. I add in the dates here. Just an example, just to kind of give you an idea, how does this help us to develop this a Gantt chart. The timeline, you remember, we talked about define phase, start date, end date, and how do we get it? So let's quickly try to understand how do we go about doing it. So so creating an audience. How long do you think you will take this gentleman, quality guy? I think I like probably max a day. We will be able to sit down, brainstorm with all relevant people. One day, if I start the project today, I will be able to get this done today itself. Okay, good job. Perfect. Now, how long? This is all happening with a team. But RASIC is over. This is what you're extending to get the timelines and all that. So get more clarity about the timelines and everything. So responsible party, creating a survey form. So can you create a survey form? The responsibility still lies with you. Can you do it today? No, I'd like, so we can get this audience created and the survey form done by tomorrow. So I can today, whenever it gets done, I'll get started, and by tomorrow we will be done with the creation of survey form. Good job. Okay. So these two activities will be done by that. How about with the circulation? Can you, Mr. So and so supervisor, can you get the form circulated? Yes, it's a online internet portal within online like our website or some other method. We can get it circulated same day. Well, it's not going to take long. Bottom line, done. Okay. How about conducting surveys? So we'll generally conduct survey for a couple of days at least. So this gets circulated today. We can have it for 2 days and say this form will be circulated. We'll get it done for 2 days. We'll cover everyone in the survey in these 2 days. And once this is done, quality, how long would you take to compile? Instantly, it's a online stuff. You can download the information. We get to know, compile the results. Okay, simple. So I know I can get my survey completed in 3 days time. Simple as that. So I will add up several activities. I know what will happen first, what will happen next. I will add up the timelines. I have a fair bit of idea how long would define. Yeah, these are initially planned and things will go through revision, which is fine. Obviously, you cannot be perfect, but you try to develop a tentative timeline, and moreover, you would have a fair bit of idea for every activity. So you keep adding such activities, you'll get to know what's the timeline for defined phase. You similarly develop for measure, similarly you develop for every phase, and you get to know it's a 3 months project, it's a 6 months project. That's how you sort of end up like updating it. And things will still be reviewed by the end of every phase. When you go through management review done through the champion, you will definitely be discussing that what went. Probably I thought it might take more time. It got completed soon. Probably I thought it would take lesser time. It took more time. You'll have those justifications and question answer in the survey form. So you will be, but yes, you need some bit of roadmap. Now what happens? This guy had completed, the quality guy has done this job, and the survey form was created. But this guy who was supposed to circulate it did not circulate on the same day. Would my project get delayed? Yes, I know who is the culprit. Who to ask questions. Supervisor, what were you doing? Why has the form not been circulated? Well, exactly know who to ask for. By the end of every day, it's my responsibility to send out an email to the champion and the sponsor, or just as champion itself, that today these activities were supposed to be completed. They say 5 activities were supposed to be completed, 3 activities completed, good job. 2 activities did not get completed. This person was responsible. This person was responsible. Simple as that. Why would I spoil my relationship? This guy has a position in the organization. He will get things done. He'll pull out their managers, whoever is not doing it, and the work will get done. People will start taking you more seriously. A good manager doesn't need to shout. We'll get it done. That's what it is. People should have that fear that you will never miss out. Well, today, tomorrow this task is supposed to be completed. Well, go and give a reminder in advance. You start giving reminders like you have a task which is going to finish in a couple of days. I hope you're on track. Well, you give reminders in advance. Go and pull out the calendar and see tomorrow, 2 days from now, or 3 days from now, who is going to complete. Go and just meet them. Keep roaming your PR skills. Develop your PR skills. Go and meet people. Talk to people. Have a cup of tea with everyone. Just chit chat. Your job is follow up. Remind. They should remember that this guy will never miss out. He knows who to ask and he will come back again. If you have a timeline, you will make sure that you are given reminder, and then he will always follow up, and there will be an email which will go by default by the end of the day about the status closure. So yes, I will never miss out. I'll make sure my cost, scope, and time is in control. Why? Because I've controlled all my activities. I've controlled my activities. I've controlled the time. I've controlled my scope. That's my scope. These are the activities. I don't do anything else out of this. Other than this, it's everything what is there. It's my scope. So I would control my cost, scope, and time, the failure reasons, if I have good RASIC structure. So I hope now we're okay with the basic RASIC part. Is it okay with everyone?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right then. So given the same thing, so we have we would also be developing. So we don't let people go out here itself. Yes, because we develop one more template which we are not discussing right now. We will be discussing in the improve phase. But FMEA, as discussed earlier, it's a risk management framework which we develop to analyze what are the potential risks or threat in the business, and what can go wrong in the defined phase. What can go wrong? What if I chosen somebody and this guy doesn't show up? What if this guy leaves? That could be my failure, a risk. What if these people who've been given important key responsibility? This guy is transferred to a different location. Yes. What if that happens? What if this guy quits? Obviously. What if I give a wrong responsibility to the wrong person? I did not pick up the right team member. So all those risk factors have to be understood. Similarly, so you put them together, we'll brainstorm for possible threats, and then we develop an action plan for that. So that FMEA will discuss when you get to the improve part, because we'll have some action plans to talk about, and for those action plans, we'll develop the FMEA. So we'll understand the implementation part of it, the how the template gets actually works. So we're parking this for now, but we'll study it later. It gets constructed here itself in the define phase. Now, with that being said, we complete the define part of the journey. So define phase is all about your project management tools. Even your FMEA is your project management tools. It's a pick up your ISO, PMP, any document, you'll see FMEA there. So all this what we covered, it's more about those templates, trackers, managing people, and all that sort of things. So it will come into picture. So once we're done with this, practically, remember we have been given the team, lean part will get started immediately. Why? Because when you talk about lean, basically when you go through a project review done, like when you go through the define phase, measure phase, analyze phase, improve, you will start seeing results when the improve phase. Fourth phase is when you will start doing something which will change the process output. So there is a waiting time for you to see an improvement. Lean, no waiting time. You start immediately. So yes, by the time define will take some time, measure will happen, data collection time will take some time, analyze phase will take some time. It will consume some time. So why wait? Lean will get started right here in the define phase itself, and then it will go carry on parallelly. Lean will always go on and on, on and on. It will not end. So, but yeah, project will end. Lean will never end. Lean will be never ending drive to improve the process. So now we will be switching from project management part to the lean part of it, and hope you should be able to finish the lean part today. So tomorrow onwards, it will be all data, and the fun begins the moment we get into data, because I'm sure that's where we will be able to start relating our own organization data. But yeah, lean will try to make sure that it's interesting, and because it's simple, we all know it. I'm sure we all seen that video of that lady delivering that whatever the bread or whatever it was, toast. But we have seen that. But let's understand the waste part of it. So when we talk about lean, lean works with these 5 principles, which is identify the value, map the value stream, make the process flow, enable pull, and strive for perfection. That's all it's all about lean. It's not massive like your Six Sigma, which is like massive phase. It's a small topic. It doesn't take long. Lean is very simple. It's got simple tools also. So having said that, let's quickly jump into the lean part of it. Now that's what is your lean stuff. So I'll place this separate file in the Google Drive, which is just about the lean part, which we want to cover up. So with respect to lean, as we talked about 5 different principles, we will start with the first one. How would you start the lean initiative, lean implementation part of it? So first of all, let's go ahead and have a look at this. Give me one quick second here. Okay. Let me just quickly move on to. I'll put this separate file there, but I'll just keep going back and forth within these files and the actual file that we like. So this is what we're working on. So let's have this one completed. So there was a journey that we talked about last time. So first we'll go through the define phase. We'll go through the lean part of it, and then the start, and then we'll follow with other tools that we have to cover. So that's a journey we'll go through. Now, moving on to the lean part now. Lean implementation journey. So what lean principles you got, whatever this is, lean principles you'll start with. First thing first, it says identify value. That was the first principle. Now, how do I identify value? What is the meaning of value? That's what we need to understand. So basic first principle, if you recall what we talked about with respect to lean. Lean is all about identifying and eliminating waste from the system without compromising on the quality. So we have a process. I'm still going to write down the same old process, but we look at some process diagrams also. So basic small process, A, B, C, D, E, some process is there, and we generate some output out of this, a product or a service. Now, this process step, which is B's process step, say we we figure out this is a waste, and like by the what we're going to talk about now. Now, by the end of this process, when we end up billing our customer for a certain amount based on this, we have to remember with respect to lean, we have to remember one thing is that whenever we are going to analyze any process, lean is all about the end customer. The end customer was the beneficiary of a product or service. So if there's a, that's what you got to keep basic fundamental in mind. And then we can talk about the value part. In lean culture, if there is a dispute between organization, profit, other or whatever, so versus or customer will always win. All disputes are settled in the favor of the customer. Customer is the king in the lean world. That's what you got to keep in mind. Lean is all about customers. So when we start analyzing a process, the process steps A, B, C, D, or whatever this lady was doing, how do we identify the waste? We ask few questions in lean. So when I'm talking about step number A, the activities that I do there, first question I would ask is, will the customer be willing to pay for this activity? Well, I'm doing a step number A or step number B. If customer was made aware, obviously customer doesn't know what all we do in our process, how many people are deployed, what kind of salary you're paying to the next YZ stuff. Customer is not aware of it, and customer ends up paying for technically everything which happens. If customer was made aware and customer gets to know what you're doing in every step and for which he or she is paying, will the customer be happy to pay for this? Say step number B. If what we're trying to understand here is this step important in the eyes of customer? That's what we're trying to understand. Is this step important in the eyes of customer? Yes, if the step is important, the answer is yes. Yes, then it's a value added activity. Your customer wants you to do this activity. You must do this because customer wants you to do this. Simple as that. It's important. Customer feels yes, you should be doing it. If the customer's answer, and you're not asking this from the customer, you're answering on it on behalf of customer. The answer comes as no. Well, why should I pay for this? Let's just take an example. Say you hired somebody from an Oxford University or Harvard University. You always were fascinated by these institutions, like people coming from these Oxford or Harvard, or whatever, these universities. They must be really talented, really skilled. So if I ever get a chance, I will definitely hire somebody from these institutions, and which will change the fortune of my organization. So you happen to hire one. Obviously, you paid a huge salary to this person. Well, obviously, you have to recover the cost. So what you've done is you've inflated your price of the product. Well, the customer would not mind paying a price, but customer would definitely want to understand, why did you increase the price? What has happened? Like if your product raw material cost has changed, or probably you're giving some extra freebies, or why you have increased the price? What is the reason? I would definitely want to know what has changed. Well, are you giving me a better quality? What has changed? No. Sir, we have recently hired somebody from Oxford or Harvard, and this guy is going to change the fortune. Well, why should I pay for that? You had your dreams to do that. Well, you pay for it. Why should I pay for your wheels and fancies? Obviously, why should the customer pay for it? So customers, when they are made aware of what you do in your organization, every single thing for which they are actually paying, they may not be happy to pay for everything, because you may be doing certain things which may seem meaningless to the customer. Yes, there are a lot of activities like this. The next question is, because customer doesn't want to pay for it and we all do everything for the customer, I would like to remove this step. This is not important. Customer doesn't feel it's important. What if I remove this step because customer doesn't want it? Because we want to implement lean, make it customer happy. Will my process fail? Obviously, I want to remove this step, but remember there was a condition, not at the cost of quality. If my process fails, if I remove this step, if my process fails because of that, then I cannot do it because I cannot implement lean at the cost of quality. So yes, I do want to remove this step, but if my process fails, will my process fail? If the answer is yes, yes, if you remove this step, your process will fail. It's a value added activity. You must do it. Otherwise, you would not have a process to deal with. Your customer may not be able to understand the importance of everything that you do. It's quite possible. So customer might think that it's not required. It's fine. But if it is important for the process, you must do it. It's a value added activity. Otherwise, you would not be able to serve the customer. If the answer comes as no, now for God's sake, help me understand why are you doing it? Neither your customer wants it, nor your process wants it. Well, customer feels that why I'm paying extra for this? I should not be paying for it. I am ready to pay for the product or service. Bill me for that only. Why I'm paying for this extra stuff? And that's definitely meaningful. How about if I remove this step, still my product or quality still remains the same? Why are you doing it then? This step is an unnecessary waste, which you're kind of putting the burden on the customer. That is a waste. So I ask these questions. Basically, in this step, we are trying to understand, is this step transforming your product, shape, color, anything? If it's, is it doing anything in development of your product or service? If there is some work is done on your product or service because of which the product or service is being made, practically it's an important step. You can't remove it, otherwise you will not have a product. It is a value-added one. But if you still remove it, if I remove this step number B and my product still remains the same, that's definitely a waste. Why are you doing it? Practically, I would like to remove these waste in the system. Can I remove all the waste in the system? The answer is no, absolutely not. The waste can be classified into two types. We call it different waste. People call it as ENVA, which is called essential non-value added waste. People call it as BNVA also, business non-value added waste. People call it as your RNVA. You might see here these terms different. Required non-value added waste, all means the same. What we are talking about, these are essential, required. They are waste. Yes, neither customer would be willing to pay for this. And if you remove them, your process will not fail. Still you want them. These are waste which are required. They're waste, but they're required. You don't remove them, but you reduce them. You cannot eliminate them. You must reduce them as much as you can, but you cannot take them out. Can you give me an example of required non-value waste in case it comes to mind?
Like in an organization, if you see that there are many things which is welfare things we are doing, right? A lot of child education activity we are doing, a lot of money putting into that, which is hitting to SG&A, which is actually, but we can't remove that because that's a social responsibility. Maybe customer is not related, maybe they're not interested, but we have to do as an organization, right? So this is one small case. There are many such cases which is maybe not related to the final goods, but still we need to do that, right? Like
Absolutely.
premises, yeah, increasing a future perspective warehouse capacity.
Right.
Customer is not needed, right? But your COGS will be increasing, right?
Absolutely, yes. You are absolutely right. So without a doubt, these are correct ones. So yes, you talk about expansion of your storage, your probably the corporate social responsibility that you have. You end up like investing money out there. We talk about like training department, quality department, your HR department, finance, marketing, your administration. Well, why should the customer be paying for these people? Well, I need your product or I need your service. Obviously, are you paying salary to these people? Yes. How are you getting the salaries? Obviously, you must have factored in the cost of salary in the product cost or services cost. So in turn, customer is paying for their salaries. Why should the customer be paying for this? Would the customer be happy to pay for your training, quality, HR, whatever? No. Why? Absolutely not. Well, if you remove them, will your process fail? No. They're not making my product. They're not delivering my services. Nothing. But do I need them? Absolutely yes. They are waste. Absolutely they are waste. But they are required waste. I must have them. Yes, I need to look at utilization percentage. Everyone, like every thing that is in this list, I must look at the utilization percentage. How many do we have them? If we have abundance of them, we must look at like how much they are utilized. Like I'll tell you, like so where we were doing a consulting for an organization, that company had almost like 40 trainers globally at multiple locations, 13 different locations. They had like 40 trainers all together. Now, not every location had training going on all the months. Like so, somebody was utilized 30%, somebody was utilized 65%, so on and so forth. There was like absolute change differences between those different locations. So what we did is we didn't fire them. Obviously, we got to understand like not everyone is not utilized. So there's some amount of time and like rather good amount of time is not being utilized for most of those trainers. So we got best of the trainers, and fortunately we found everyone in the US. So we got the training centralized, and we started this kind of live virtual training way back in the corporate world. And we got this, everyone got trained throughout the globe, whatever locations, everyone was getting trained by one single person. So, and we gave that responsibility that was into sales kind of process. So we had metrics like negotiation skills, soft skills. So somebody who was great in negotiation skills. You don't teach everything. You just teach one topic. You are the best in it. Just teach people about this one. You are good at soft skills. You just teach that. We got best of the 5 trainers. We paid them a huge amount, and these got rest of the people redeployed in different departments where they can add to the revenue generation process. So yes, you have to look at the optimization, looking at how many people do we have. Do we really need these many people? If they are utilized fully, then it's fine, but you will always find a lot of gaps there. So yes, we don't want to fire them. These are required. If you don't have training team, well, who's going to train your staff? You don't have quality, then who is going to do that inspection? You just manufacture product and ship it to the customer. Well, then God save us. You need definitely coordinate quality team. So all these people are required. But yes, they are waste. You got to look at full optimization of this, because that's an overhead cost that you're bearing. Now, you would definitely want to look into this. Wherever you go, you'll definitely find this waste. You got to optimize this. The next section we have here is non-value added waste. This is pure waste that we talk about, absolutely pure waste. This I would like to remove, absolutely remove all of it. But that's just a desire. You will never be able to remove it, all of it. Yes, you definitely try as much as you can, but yes, it's never ending. So yes, your lean is all going to be all around this to remove as much as you can. Continue moving, because you don't want this waste. Easy way to remember this is Tim Woods. That's the 8 types of waste. Earlier, that used to be 7 types of waste. The Japanese version was 7 types of waste. Americans added the 8th waste in this list. So the older version was 7 types of waste. Now it's 8. That means +1 was added by the Americans. T stands for anyone?
Transportation.
Yes, thank you. Transportation waste.
Inventory. Motion. W stands for
Waiting.
Wait. Over processing.
Waiting time.
Overproduction.
Overproduction.
Processing.
Defects.
Yes.
And S stands for
skills. When I say skills, I'm skills. So these are 8 wastes that we have in every organization. This is tons of them. Honestly, this is like big mess that we have. When we look at a process, you will see tons of waste. You remember that lady doing all that back and forth? You have to find these waste in that. You should be clear about what these mean. And whenever you're looking at process, just try to find out how much of transportation waste did we see here? How much of inventory waste did we see here? How much of motion waste did we see here? How much was waiting waste? You have to find out these waste. You go to your process, be it production, sales, operations, whatever kind of role we're in, you have to look at your process from lean perspective to find out these waste. These are pure waste and they must be removed. Now, what is this transportation waste? Let's quickly talk through this and then we can quickly take a, or like, would you be okay to take a break now and then come back and sort of rather it otherwise will be in between. Let's do one thing. Let's take the break now and then come back. Otherwise, we'll be in between. It won't make sense. So, yeah, is it okay with everyone? Shall we take the break now?
Yes, yes, we can take the break.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's connect in next 20 minutes. That's what we agreed yesterday. So
Yeah,
let's
20 minutes.
connect in 20 minutes from now, as per your respective time zone. Yes, so are we back from the break?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for your confirmation. Let's discuss
sir.
about the demos. Yeah, thanks a lot. Let's talk about the 8 ways that we see in a system which are always present in every process. So first waste, we talk about transportation. This is related to unnecessary movement of material or thing. So when you're moving some physical product, some sort of movement of material, not about people, it's about movement of material or things. So we keep shifting luggage from like some material or storage, raw material from one place to another.
So
Now,
3 days ago, when we started, you played a
yes,
video.
yes.
That is the best example of
Transportation,
transportation.
yes, absolutely. We had like a lot of this lady kept on moving the spades from here to here, then getting the knife from one place to another. That's movement of material, unnecessary. And you never plan for it. Why? Because we never don't plan for it. So we keep things anywhere and they keep shifting material from one place to another. So is that adding any value to the product? No. Is that adding any value to the system? No. We're doing it because we never planned for it. We never treat that as a defect. We never like criticized ourselves, we never analyzed the process, we never counted this as a waste in a system. So we continue doing it because nobody ever thought about this as a defect, and it's taking away something from your process. Now, what is it taking away? The person's movement, that moment is adding no value. So the person's resource cost, doing the same job again and again, moving those material from one place to another. Aren't you using some resources? Yes, that's the person is being utilized. If you're using some machinery like a manufacturing setup, you use like forklifts or crane or some sort of material, some equipment to move. The machines are used to kind of move. Isn't it? Is there a cost for the machine, for the forklift or the cranes that we use? Yes, there is a cost. When you shift material, you're wasting the time of the people. Obviously this time could have been used to develop something more constructive with which we can get more revenue. So this moment is unnecessary because we never cared about it. We never thought about it. That's transportation part. Now, inventory waste is mother of waste because a lot of waste gets originated from this one. This is unnecessary inventory. So you keep you
If
you
you wanna
keep
suggest anyone, please do share profile.
uh okay, somebody's mic is on. Okay, so it's unnecessary inventory which is piled up. So see, I have I don't have a requirement right now, but I end up procuring raw material. This is when we talk about raw material. There's a cost of raw material, yes. As a business, a businessman's money is the money which is in circulation. It's always moving. So the money which gets tied up as capital, I have blocked my money now. But is it the only cost? No. That's what is visible to me. There is a material which is kept and there's a material cost, which I'm not able to utilize because there's no demand and I cannot use this material to manufacture a product out of it. Well, definitely that's waste. But is it the only one? No. There will be a storage cost. You got to keep it somewhere. So there will be cost of storage. Obviously, the material that you kept, you need somebody to take care of that, manage that. So the person's somebody would be deployed to take care of that inventory also. That's the cost which is or there also. Every inventory has a shelf life, expiration date. Every inventory will become old or it will become bad after some time. So you piled up inventory which is going to get finished soon or probably get expire. So there's a lot of cost, insurance cost, perforation cost. Technically, there'll be a lot of cost which is hidden cost which never account for. So you not just block your actual raw material, your actual capital, but along with that, a lot of other costs which is we never account for. That's inventory waste. Too much excess inventory, which is not required. There's obviously some safety stock which is required, but yes, excess of it will definitely be a waste.
Even the space which you allocate to keep the raw material in the
Yes.
warehouse.
Yeah,
that
the
space,
storage.
you know,
Absolutely,
the
yes.
storage.
Yeah, 100% yes. So that's like a lot of hidden waste. What we generally see is probably that inventory is not being utilized. No, there's more cost which you are wasting. It's not just one cost what is visible. There are more hidden costs attached to it. So which is we got to look into it, and that has to be quantified. You have to look at it how much money we are wasting just because we never planned and we just procured raw material, hoping one day I'll have a demand, I'll manufacture, I'll make money. Sorry, rather use that money, put it in some bank and make some interest out of it or whatever. But that money which is tied up as capital, you're wasting money. We were doing a consulting stuff like a training for one of a publication house to start with. They had published so many books, and this is history, but for them pretty much because they're no longer doing it. But the mistake they have done in the past, they have a complete warehouse full of books which they have published about almost 10 years ago. Full of that full warehouse, the worth, the actual worth, which is I'm not talking about the sales price, what they generally sell it for, the bare minimum, the actual cost, which is their operational cost, whatever the raw material cost, printing cost, actual cost was in range of about 1.2 million euros. That money is wasted. That if those people are no longer reading those books, they just published a lot of books, and probably there was no demand created for those many books, and probably people, the trend keeps changing, but they ended printing so many books, and those books have been eating up their warehouse space for almost like 10 years, and God knows where for how long. So the money is tied up, plus there is additional waste. So this is definitely a big problem which is there because we never plan for it. We never do that maths around it. Now, coming to the motion waste, trust this is the biggest waste. If you can cover up for this, you can show the first waste that you can easily identify. You can showcase to the management easily, quantify and get an approval for a project is the motion waste. Biggest disguised waste is your motion waste. This is unnecessary movement of people. This lady sort of kept traveling back and forth, back and forth. That is a motion waste. I'll give you a quick example. Like that's what I end up giving every time, but I would not mind giving it again. That was my last engagement with the corporate sector when I was managing the operations for them, the all India operations. My cabin was somewhere here, and we had everyone had their own printers and all. So and every now and then some other problem used to happen in printers. So everyone used to complain, and management was tired, like sick and tired of that. So they took away all the printers, and they got a huge centralized printer with a maintenance guy, and the printer was placed somewhere here. Now, if I give a printout and get out of my cabin, I will just get out of my cabin, walk into various cubicles, take a zigzag path, and then reach to the printer, and then pick the printout, come back, and sort of get back to my cabin. That was the basic rule. I did a time and motion study just to understand. When I got the understanding of lean, I started sort of relating it to my real world stuff. I did the basic maths, and then that's what I would like to quickly show it to you how does it translate to a big waste. 3 minutes is what I figured out. It took me to get out of my cabin without stopping at any workstation. No chit chatting. Straight away, just walk there at normal pace. 3 minutes to go there and 3 minutes to come back. 6 minutes wasted in picking up a printout. On average, I used to give about roughly about 3 printouts. So 3 printouts per day would translate to 18 minutes wasted in a day. Walking in a corridor, picking up a printout, that's what a meaningful activity by a AVP. Now, that's what I can talk about. Now, we used to work with a 26 days a week culture, which is like 6 days a week work culture. So if I do the same maths for 26 days, if I do the same stuff, 80 minutes per day wasted, which is about 468 minutes wasted in a month. Convert this into a year. These many minutes wasted in a year. Convert that into hours. These many hours wasted in a year. Convert this in 8-hour shift like day, which is 11.7 days of salary wasted in the entire year, picking up a printout, walking in the corridor. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I was able to sort of do a quick time and motion study for myself. And that was one activity, and so many activities are there, which we do, and we never account for it, because who cares about this 3 minutes? Japanese people are particular about a second. Forget about minute. Minute is a very big number. Every single second. They account for it. Lean is all about getting into time. They would go, they count for every single second. So yes, they are very particular about lean culture. Everyone is doing it. So you can look at, just want to quickly check. Have you heard about spaghetti diagram? Anyone? spaghetti diagram in case we heard about it. This is how it looks like. I'm sure you must have seen some images by now here. Okay, let me show you a quick spaghetti diagram. This is a example of a spaghetti diagram. This probably, let me talk about this one. All these are spaghetti diagrams. All these are. This is what it is: motion or path of people moving from one desk to another to get their work done. Every time, see how many times we're crossing each other's path. So this is path for one person, path for another person in a different color. The more number of times we cross each other's path, that's a motion waste. If you have to do too much of movement to do your daily job, you are creating a motion waste, because that you're not doing any value out of the process. It tells you how much you've walked, what duration, how much distance did you cover in an entire day. You have to do this. You have to look at the process. You have to understand how much people are wasting. You have to observe the process. You have to be in the operation flow, production flow, wherever it is, but you have to look at what people are doing, how much traveling they are doing in a day, just to get an idea how much of motion waste is there. And that's what you end up plotting for different departments and all. Now, practically, we can quantify this by adding for that person's salary against those many hours or days wasted. You can quantify that. The solution to this is called as cellular layout. We never planned for it, and that's what it is, see, before and after. How many times we're crossing each other's path? This is how a cellular layout works. We don't cross, properly planned. Let me give you a quick, very short example so that we can relate with it. So I will tell you about the same facility, how we can sort of redesign to say this is one facility where we have, this is one facility where we have this here in the center. We have sort of say the corporate team sits, probably we have our accounts department, HR department, all those cabins are here. Say, just an example. This is where I have my store. The store sort of gives the raw material required for production. This is where I have my production unit. This is where I have my quality team. They sit here. Quality department, they will do the quality inspection. And this is where I have got my store, which is going to keep basically once material is quality tested, they go for the packaging department. Packaging department, once they're done with it, they will sort of give it back to some store kind of thing, and then the dispatch team sits here. So dispatch team sits here. They will sort of, so the logistics team will, how the work gets started. Store will supply the materials, so we'll walk through this department somewhere here and go to the production floor. Team will work on it. The product they manufacture, they again give it back to the quality team. They audit the product, and once they're done with it, they will again return it to the packaging team. They will return it to the store, and then this will keep it. Then when there is a demand which needs to be supplied to the customer, they give it to the dispatch team, and they finally send it out. Well, same facility in a redesigned format, in a cellular layout format. This is, nobody cares. We never cared about, let these people sit there. We're not changing their position. Say, this is my store. That's your production. That's your quality. That's your packaging. That's the final area where we kind of park all the, again, the different kind of store where you keep the finished goods. And that's my dispatch team. Don't cross each other's path. Product gets supplied to the production. They do go for quality testing, packaging, store, finally dispatch. You don't cross each other's path. No motion study. So pretty much it's just about planning the layout is going to matter, because every day everyone is going to do that much of movement. And then again, you want to quantify on an annualized basis. This is huge waste that we do. We can quantify it by the time people sort of walk, how much distance we travel, and how much is the cost. Practically, you can get the hourly cost for everyone, or every minute cost for everyone based on the salary that you're paying to them. You will be able to easily quantify. But yes, this is something which we need to go to the process and observe how much somebody is moving to do their job. That's unnecessary movement of people. Now, Waiting waste is purely understood like lean is all about cutting down time. Why are you waiting? You see somebody waiting for what? Waiting for raw material, waiting for instructions, approval, resources. What are you waiting for? It has to be cut down. Well, you need to understand why is my process waiting? You need to find out if you see something waiting, it needs to be removed. Well, we talked about inventory, excess inventory. Thanks, you had excess inventory. Now you have excess of production done because you had excess inventory. You end up manufacturing more than what was required. This is finished goods. Again, all those, what if, now you manufacture the product, probably the older cost of raw material was say $100. Now the finished good has a cost, a worth of $200 because you already invested more into it and the production cost has gone to it. Now, even more capital is tied up now and plus those additional costs. What if there's market trend changes and you no longer need it? You know, the first people who sort of manufactured the calculators, so invented the calculator rather, these guys became overnight millionaires because for the first time, a machine was doing calculations, arithmetic calculations and all that, was getting everything in a jiffy. So people were fascinated. Investors started putting in a lot of money, and these two people were there. They became millionaires, overnight millionaires. They got plenty of money, and they started producing huge volume of calculators, and they were bulky calculators. Then came computers. Nobody needed them. These guys, investors lost their money, and practically nobody wanted that. That became just a garbage because nobody wanted to purchase those bulky calculators where you can just do calculations. You were able to get computers who were doing much more than just calculation. So trend can change, and probably what you have produced may not be required by any by people in the future. Would you like to go back and purchase a Nokia 1100 phone, probably a BlackBerry today? No, who cares about those phones any longer? But if you have manufactured so many, then you will end up waiting for it to be sold, and probably there's no more demand for that. You wasted your money. So overproduction is something which is a curse and which should not be done. Practically, we'll have waste there. Coming to overprocessing, overprocessing is doing more than what the customers demanded. Customers demanded something, you must stick to it. Don't try to overdo something. Like say if I ask you to share data, you did complete analysis with graphs and charts. Sorry, did I ask for that? No. Probably you want to delight the customer. Yes, I understand, but customer is not asked for it. And probably what you're trying to do, customer may not like it also. So you please stop taking those calls on behalf of the customer. Do as it's been asked and don't try to over process. You try to kind of overdo something, it will come and hurt you also again. Over processing is even bad. Like I say, if I call up a customer service and telecom operator, I want to understand if I want to travel to say Dubai, I want to understand about the international roaming process. This guy starts giving me explanation about Europe, US, and every other. Oh, sorry, I just needed Dubai. That's it. Simple as that. Stick to that. Well, that's what it is. You over process, you deliver more than what is required. That's going to be a waste here. Defects and rework are self-explanatory. The moment you create a defect, technically you wasted money. The way you wasted money because you have to rework and do and fix it and probably make a new product. Ideally, you'll be reusing your resources, people, time, effort on something which should have been correct the first time. You would be working again, but you'd not be benefiting from it because you are fixing your errors which you did in the first place. Again, that's what is going to delay the process because the customer will be waiting for the product to be delivered and while you're still working on the older ones. That's what is going to delay the process. If you have excess defects created, you have excess scrap work, everything, you have to rework on it and that's going to cost you money. Now, this one is the latest one, which is to do with micromanagement. More to do with micromanagement. Like say, if I were to hire somebody for my department and during the job interview, and I have a very clear expectation that I need person should to know green belt and black belt and project management, agile methodology, and analytical skills and digital marketing, God knows what not. I have every possible thing that I need in my list. But when I hire this person, you know, what do I tell this person? Well, stop using your brain, do as I say. If you needed a clerk, you should have hired a clerk. You've hired such a talented resource and you're wasting that resource. So unfortunately, some people have a problem of micromanaging, absolutely getting into the nitty-gritties of, well, you got to live, you got to give some space to the people. You should trust your own decision. You hired somebody at a responsible position, let that person execute, which is quite possible that this person may make a mistake, but will learn, because I'm sure everyone needs a chance and everyone needs some sort of guidance. It's fine. But don't try to poke your nose and make it difficult for people to work under you. It's unfortunate. It's very, very common. But people start poking nose every time in someone's job. But try to understand, like, when I do that, every time I'm poking my nose in someone else's job, I am doing their job. Who is doing mine? Because my time, have to value my time also. So it's very important that you got to stop micromanaging. I don't want to name the companies, but we have seen organization where even a $50 invoice it goes through 7 level of processing, 7 level, and the 7th level is the CEO. Sorry, too bad for you as a company when a $50 invoice needs a CEO approval. Sorry about that. And on top of it, there's a waiting waste. Because one level approves it, then second level, then third level, then fourth. If you don't trust the first 6 levels, then why do you have them? If you are the one who approve everything, then just fire them. Probably better off you'll save some money. Then there's no point in having those people if you just don't want to trust them. Like, I'm sure there will be some level, or you can define, because $50 invoice, do you think it's your time is worth evaluating and approving a $50 invoice? Probably you can give it to somebody at some level. Some work can be delegated, but then you want to micromanage. Well, sorry about that. Yes, that's where you tend to waste their talent and your talent also. Your time is of prime essence. So these waste will be seen in every system. Yes, you can not remove all the waste, because some waste will always be there. You may try, and it's a never-ending drive. You'll always continue to push out this particular waste from out of your system, but you'll never be able to do that completely. Is waste, the types of waste, 8 waste, okay with everyone?
Shashi, this
Yes,
skills
sir.
numbers also will come, right?
Which one?
In the skills, the number of people, head count also will come, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so work which is to be done by 2 people is getting done by 5 people. Well, definitely, yes. You're not utilizing the talent fully. Utilization percentage will again be heard, will be here. Absolutely. Number of people will definitely come here. But yeah, I hope it's okay with everyone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yes.
Perfect.
Yes,
So
sir.
that was the first principle, which is all about identifying value. So we have an understanding what are the 8 ways that I'll be trying to find in my process, in my system. Now, next thing it says map the value stream. Map the value stream will always start with number 1 called Gemba walk. Gemba walk. Now, Gemba walk is again a Japanese term, which like in a pure simple English will say the real place. Real place means the production floor, operation floor, where your process is happening, where the work is being done. You cannot implement lean by sitting in a boardroom. Sorry. Well, if you plan to do that, it will be a disaster. Trust your lean will fail day 1. Gemba walk is essential. It's non-negotiable. You must do a Gemba walk. What is the meaning of Gemba walk? It's real based. The logic is go and see it yourself. Simple as that. You can't delegate this job to somebody else in your team. Go and do that. No. Higher management people will generally be doing a Gemba walk on the production floor, operational floor. What do you do in a Gemba walk? You observe. That's it. You monitor what people are doing. You go to the production floor, operation floor, see every particular stage from beginning of your process till end of the process, every machine operator, every machine, every field. What do you monitor? People, what they're doing, how many people are deployed in every stage. Step number 1, step number 2. How many do we really need those many people? Probably at one stage there are 5 people, and you don't need those many people. And one stage there are 2 people, and you have tons of work which is waiting and pending. Why? Because these guys have tons of work on their head, and they are lesser number of people. We have to look at that. Somebody is relaxing, somebody doesn't have a time to breathe also. That's a motion waste. Well, not motion waste, but resource utilization is not done correctly. So I have to observe people, what they're doing, how many people are there. I have to look at machine. But like, is it machines? I'll be observing. Are they working properly, or probably there's a maintenance going on? Is there a frequent breakdown? All that stuff. I have to look at the raw material. How much of raw material is generally pending, work in progress, inventory, etc., etc. Bottom line, I am going to the process and trying to go at every single step, trying to find out these waste. Is in the step number one, do I see a transportation waste? Do I see inventory waste? Do I see a motion waste? I'm making notes. So whenever you go for demo work, always carry pen, paper, always with you. Why? Because you will be making notes. Always do that. Make some notes. Prepare. And now, while you're making notes, remember, never make your decision just by looking at few instances. At least see 10 to 15 times before you finally decide, well, this person takes this much of time, these many people are required to do the job, this is the time this person takes to complete the task number one, task number two. So you should at least see some instances to ensure that yes, this is what, and I make a note of it. It takes 5 minutes, it takes 2 minutes, and this much of inventory is generally lying there, this for this person, because this guy, there's less number of people at this stage. There's always some inventory waiting to be processed because this guy has too much of workload and is trying to kind of juggle between multiple tasks. That's what we would be making note of. When you make note of this, that's when you come back to your drawing board or your meeting room and discuss with your team. This is when you make your high level process map. High level process map we have called as SIPOC. Now SIPOC will supplier, input, process, output, and customer. Now, whenever you're writing a SIPOC thumb rule, it's high level process map, not a detailed one. Only max 5 to 6 steps should be used. Only major ones. Only important ones will be used. So the major steps will be used. Don't go into detail. This is not a detailed process map. Always start with process first. So let's try to kind of basically draw a basic SIPOC diagram. But before we do that, supplier, who is the one who works on the process or supplies the information. Customer is one who benefits from the output. Now, we start with a SIPOC map, say, in a manufacturing kind of setup. Say that we procure the raw material. So we have procure raw material. When the raw material is procured, you start the production process started. That goes for quality testing. Then it goes for packaging. And it goes for logistics. And finally, you get it delivered to the customer. So that's how my entire process goes through. What was the input required? Why did you procure why you wanted to procure the raw material? Because there was an input. What? Demand from customer. You had the input, which is that there was a demand from the customer. Who was the supplier here? Who supplied this? The customer himself was the supplier who started or initiated or triggered the input, plus the external vendor who supplied the raw material, and your store, which is internal to your company. Anyone who sort of works and initiates this activity will be the one. So which resulted in input was demand from the customer, which led to the need of procuring the raw material. What was the output here? Output was raw material procured for production. Who is the beneficiary of this? Obviously, the production team. They're waiting for your product, the raw material to produce complete the production. This customer will become the supplier in the next stage because they will be the one who will be working on this process. What is the input? Because you have the raw material output for next stage will become input of next. Because you have raw material, the production team will work on it and complete the production process. What is going to be the output? The output will be finished goods. For whom? The quality team. Now, quality team becomes the supplier, is the one who's working on this process. Why? Because we have finished goods. Finished goods will go for quality testing. What will be the output? Good and bad products. So what after quality testing? Product, not project. For whom? The packaging team. A packaging team becomes the supplier. They work on this. Why? Because we have good products, not the bad ones. They'll be packed, packaging process. Products packaged, whatever. For whom? The logistics team. This becomes the supplier in the next stage. Why? Because we have packed products which will go through the logistics process. Output is shipped to customer, and finally to whom? The customer himself. So you have a small SIPOC diagram here, which is what we end up creating, which just gives you high level information of what your process, what is happening. Not detailed, but high level. That's what is SIPOC. Is it okay with everyone? What is SIPOC? How do you draft a SIPOC out of this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, clear.
Perfect. Now, because you got your SIPOC, now the question, the second principle was to map the value stream, which we haven't done yet. Just got the process created. The same SIPOC will take a graphical image now. This is what you had. Yeah.
SIPOC full form is?
Supplier, input, process, output.
Okay. Got it. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So this same SIPOC will take a graphical image. Now we have this flow chart. This will become a graphical flow chart with numbers and value mapping, what you have collected during your Gemba walk. You've done your Gemba walk, so you can prepare a high level process map for yourself. Now you're going to draft a profile like your value stream map will be drafted based on this SIPOC. Let's see how do we go about looking at it. So we'll have a look at some examples of VSL. So let's first look at this. First understand, is it SIPOC or not? That's what we first need to figure out. Is it SIPOC that we created? Yes, it's SIPOC. Let's see. Customer. Supplier. That's a supplier. Input is this arrow. Input are these arrows. Inputs are these arrows. Input are these arrows. Everything that's coming in, that's your input. So supplier input done. Process SI, I is done, input is done. That's your process. High level process map. That's your process, where the process works. Cutting, stamping, painting, packaging. Done. Output. There's some output you just kept in the store and then we ship it to the customer. Simple. That's your SIPOC only. So you're not different, not doing anything different. Whatever you created as a SIPOC, you are just giving an image. Now let's understand when you see a sign like this zigzag symbol, this means there is an electronic transmission, either a fax or an email. So customer placed the order to the company. Now the nomenclatures could differ. This is saying production control. Some companies say production planning team. Different industries can have a different name. Like a service industry can have this as a business development team or business analytics team, or anyone who's going to look into the customer order, analyze the customer order, review it, strategize. How should we complete this order? What should be the plan? What should be our weekly target? What should be the daily target? How much of raw material will be required? How many people will be required? All that stuff. The planning part is done here. So we have analyzed this requirement. Based on their analysis and strategy they have developed, they will communicate with the supplier. You supply this material. So based on whatever they have communicated, they go and tell their departments that we have got a new customer order and this is what we need to complete. This is the order. which we have received. So they get the production plan as they have created, like daily, weekly target, whatever. So everyone gets to know that what is the order they have to work on, and the supplier also gets to know how, at what frequency, based on whatever was communicated by them, they need to supply the raw material. So supplier has been given instruction to say provide the material on a daily basis. So the supplier keeps on doing this as a physical, basically transfer, basically sort of shipping it. So this truck brings us the raw material. Now comes the other part, the numbering part, where we say we start giving value add, or the value stream mapping, the basic part. Just scroll down a little bit. Yeah. Now we look at this one. During the Ganga walk, we always saw that there was some inventory always lying there, waiting to be processed. Because this department, the cutting department, that take about 25 minutes to cut one piece. This is the time for one piece. This is called value added time. Basically, this is a value added time, or it's called a cycle time. Cycle time is the actual processing time, actual work time that you do on the product or service. The actual work time, touch time. You can say touch time when you're working on the product. So the cutting time for cutting one product, one part, they take about 25 minutes, because there's a time, there's always some inventory which is already piled up, because they keep supplying. There's always like roughly about 400 inventory which is lying there. How do you know it? Because you were there in the production floor. You saw it with your own eyes. You've seen on average there's about 400 inventory lying there. So you see that inventory size which is always lying there. And then given that fact, you kind of mapped all these values. Now similarly, there is you saw that there was always inventory. I shape symbolizes the inventory. So there's always an inventory in between them, which is waiting for stamping team to pick up from here, and then they keep working on it. On an average, there's about 300 inventory always lying there. They take about 45 minutes to stamp one part. Now, how do I know? Because I was there. Again, there is always generally an inventory, about 450 inventory lying there in between them, for paint team to kind of pick up the material from here and start working, because they keep producing the output, they keep parking it here. They keep picking it up from here. There generally is inventory of 450 lying out here. They take about 120 minutes because they're even slow, so there is to be more inventory parked there. So practically they keep painting, and they take about 120 minutes to paint one item. And there is a inventory about like whatever this 200 inventory always lying here, and the packaging team takes about 15 minutes to pack the product. So time which is at the bottom, this is called a cycle time, which is actual time it takes to manufacture one product, which is known as VAT's value added time, which is about 200, whatever this 5 minutes that we have as value added time for manufacturing one product. PLT stands for production lead time. To complete the entire order, like we should look at end to end, which includes your cycle time also. So practically this end to end, how long does it take? About 17.242 minutes. How do you know? Basis my Gemba walk. And finally, I have it in the store, and I ship every 7 days. I ship the material to the customer. That's what is your value stream map. Is it okay and clear with everyone?
No, please clarify it again. Sorry.
Okay. See, when I look at this process, that's my customer. Customer has placed an order to me, and I need to, based on the customer order, and this order was placed electronically through a fax or an email. Customer gave an order to the production team. The company got the order. They analyze the order. They analyze the requirement. Based on that, they communicated to the external vendor that you, supplier, will be supplying the material to our team, to a company at whatever as per their planning. So probably they have given an instruction that daily you should be sending some material. So there's a daily shipment coming from the vendor. And then we have our production team who have also got the production plan. That's your daily target is this, weekly target is this, and so on and so forth. Now, based on our observations, because we were there during the Gemba walk, we have spent some time in every stage, we would have seen that on an average, there's some inventory lying there. So based on our observation, how much inventory generally is lying in between two different process steps. There's a inventory waste, waiting waste. This inventory is waiting to be processed. So technically that's a waste. We've identified in the process during Gemba walk. And this is what we like to first map in this process step. So
you mean مثلا the first step there is 400 units waiting?
Yes. So because they continue stamping and they're keeping it. They stamp, they keep it here. They stamp, they keep it here. They stamp, they keep it here. Because paint takes more time, like 120 minutes. So their processing is slow. There'll be some inventory which is there. So the more inventory will keep getting piled up here because they take more time to make one part painted. So they will generally be little higher inventory, which will be piled up here because they are slow. They will be moving about one part in every 45 minutes, every 45 minutes, every 45 minutes. But they will be picking apart in after every 120 minutes, after 120 minutes, because they take 120 minutes to paint one part. So there will always be an inventory which will getting piled up, waiting for painting to pick up the part. Is it clear now?
Yes, regarding the BLT and the VAT.
Okay, so that we come. So I'm just going to that. So VAT, which is value added time. Value added time is the same that we talk about the actual value added, which is what the customer would be willing to pay for. The actual product, what the cutting, stamping, painting, packaging, that's the actual part. How long does it take? So because I was there, I saw that cutting of one part takes about 25 minutes. Stamping of one part takes about 45 minutes. Painting of one part takes about 120 minutes. Packaging of one part takes about 15 minutes. So I add up all, I get the time, which is 205 minutes. To complete one part, it takes about 205 minutes. So by the virtue of all the system delays we have in between, there's a wait time because this inventory it continues to get processed. They keep piling up. We generally see there's a waiting time, what this many days, where they end up finishing because they keep piling up, they keep picking up. There's always a wait time for what 3.9 days in between. So we would have seen between these two processes, it takes about these many days to finish up that inventory. So that's how, based on the production capacity of there, this is the wait time. So we know this one at the bottom ones as the value added time. This is the wait time between the stamping and painting to finish up that kind of inventory because they are slow. So we will continue to, based on our process floor walk, observation, we would analyze how long does it take to complete an order from beginning till end. And that is PLT, stand for production lead time. How long does it take from end to end to complete the production?
And production lead time also represent 1 unit. For production, 1 unit.
No, not for 1 unit, for entire production, end to end. Not for 1 unit. 1 unit is just the one which we have at the bottom. Just the top one talks about the entire
BLT equals for VAT plus this waiting time.
Yes, absolutely. It's inclusive of that.
I think it's a bit.
It's when you talk of production lead time, we'll be adding everything, so all the time that you have here as the total.
Mr. Shashi, how this 0.35, 3.9 production lead time, that can you just show one calculation at least in one stage?
Which one are you talking about?
This 3.9, 4.33 days, 7.69 days. Any one calculation how it has come? That 7.69, 4.33, how did you calculate?
This one, so I just picked that from there, but let me just quickly have a look at it. So 200 pieces multiplied by 15 minutes. So point, I guess that's how it will get converted. How long would it take for them? 0.6 is worth of inventory, which is all there. This is what we captured from the basically what we have observed. How long does it take for them to finish up in the entire inventory? But let's have this basic calculation. If it's coming from if it's coming from a calculation, it's basically what we observed during the Gemba work. We end up updating it. But still, let's quickly have a look at this. If we can have they have 200 units, and let's try to see if we can have this math done. $50 and 50 hours. If I just come over it, so I take about 15 minutes. So divided by 4, will give me like 50 hours. And 50 hours we convert that into say 8-hour shift. I guess that's what it is. Something like that, 8 or 7-hour shift. I think that's how somehow it's coming up. Some hour shift. That's what it looks like. So if I have 200 pieces, which is waiting to be processed, they take what 15 minutes to manufacture one piece. So how much time will they take to manufacture to complete this 200 parts? Will take what 50 hours. So if I multiply, or basically I've taken 1/4 of an hour, so they will take about 50 hours to manufacture complete 200 parts at this rate of 15 minutes turnover. And this 50 hours, if I convert that into number of days, so whatever is the calculation that they have taken for the number of days, either 7-hour shift or 8-hour shift or whatever it is, this is technically probably 7.5 hours, whatever it is. So it's just 7 hours probably, but whatever it is coming at 7.69, but it's roughly around that. So we convert that, how many days will it take for us to wind up the entire inventory? If I just check this one, say 450 units. Let's do the calculation here for this one also. Say we have 450 units which we need to process, and for 1 unit to process they take about 120 minutes, which is about 2 hours. So if I divide this by 2, I'll take about 225 hours. That's what it looks like. Yes, 225 hours. If I divide this with, say, 7-hour shift, I'm going to take a lot of time. Yeah, that's how it gets calculated. Probably the image needs some bit of correction, but that's how it gets calculated based on whatever is the inventory which is lined up and how much time does it take for one piece. So if these are one piece, it takes this much of time to complete one, say one part, then how much would it take to complete this part? So that much of waiting will be there before you can wind up the entire inventory. I hope you can get the calculation. So probably because it just got these images from the Google images, but that's how the calculation works. So for one piece, it takes this much time. So for to kind of complete this, how much time would it take? So that will be the time. It will be this inventory will be waiting for it. Similarly, if it takes one piece to paint one piece, how much time will it take 450 pieces to paint? So those many hours, if this inventory will be waiting because they'll continue to kind of fill it up from there. They'll continue piling up. So I believe there will always be a 450 units, stable units, always lying there. I hope you're getting it because that's how the calculation is done. So you get to know this waiting time because based on the 1 unit, how long does it take? And this amount of inventory is always there. Let's try to see it for the other one if it makes some sense here. Okay, this is 300 units we have here. If I need to manufacture 300 units for one stamping, 5 minutes, how long will it take for me to kind of complete this 300 units? So if I divide it by, so rather multiply this by 0.75, 225 hours. So that's what it looks like. 225 hours. Convert that into but that's how the calculation works. I can probably I'll rather probably because it's an image that how, but I can share one like probably a video where you can have a quick look at it, how the calculation works. If you just want to look at it, and that's how this calculation will be done. So I will share a link to the video where with this exactly this is explained by through a simulation activity. So I do have those links. I'll be sharing that link where you get to know how the calculation wise. This is how you will get to see because I take one part to audit, like to complete this one part. This is the time which it takes. These many inventory is what needs to be processed, and on average, this much inventory will always be there based on my observation. So because I keep picking up some material and they keep putting up some material. So my understanding is on an average, this much of inventory is always going to be lying there. So based on this, how much of waiting time already will be there always based on the time like how much do I take and how much inventory is lined up, that will decide my waiting time of that inventory. This much of inventory will be required to finish this inventory. There's a waiting time always in between in this one to get that whole lot processed, ship that entire inventory. But that's the calculation around it. That's how the calculation works. But yes, I can share that link so that you get to see the working of it. It's a quick shot, basically maximum like 5-7 minutes long video. It's a simulation activity. They're demonstrating how the value stream map is done and practically how this inventory is calculated. A short, very quick shot simulation activity, which can get you the calculation figures here. But that's how it's done. Even in that, when you go through the video, you'll see the same activity there. But I hope you got the idea how it's done.
Yes, I got the idea, but
But calculation will be this way only. Image wise, so I just got basically just got these basic images from Google. So just got it downloaded to got that to explain the value stream map part of it. But yes, that's how calculation is done. And when you develop a value stream map, you get to know what time takes to manufacture one piece, and then you multiply with this one to get to know how long this would take to finish. So that's what will give me the waiting time. Is it okay with everyone? Any which I'll be sharing. There's not one, actually there will be 4 links to different videos, because there are other principles also which we need to cover, and the other principles which will need some bit of clarity. So yes, I'll be sharing 3-4 different links of those videos which have some bit of simulation activity being done there to help you understand that. Is it okay for now? But that's how it's done. Like, so you can take it for now for sure. That's how the calculation works. Is it okay?
We'll move forward, please.
Okay. So when you get your value stream map kind of drafted, but let me just quickly mention here. So I'll share. We may not be able to complete all the principles most likely by today, but still I'll share the link of all those videos. So let me just quickly rather copy paste. Give me one quick second. Won't take long. Give me 1 quick second. Just before I place this file, I'll share those links of those videos, which you like. I'm sure you can refer to this. So like daily, every video would be about like 5 to 7 minutes. But the good part is that rather somebody just telling you, there's a simulation activity being done there. So you will be able to understand. They would be drafting a value stream map. They will be talking about that, and they will be demonstrating the steps that they are moving the material. Now they will be making the count there, so you will know how actually this calculation works, and the entire value stream logic will be clear. So let me just mention it here. So the links of VSM, Kanban. I guess that was the few links that we had there. So Kanban is something we'll be talking about later. So I'll be sharing the link of those videos also. There were like 4-5 links. I would definitely recommend everyone to go through to get their understanding clear. Now, once you have done the value stream map, there are 3 more principles which are left over. And this one, which is the third principle, is to make the process flow. Well, simple as that. You cannot afford the process to slow down. You cannot afford process to stop anywhere. There should not be waiting time. So bottom line, look out for waiting in the process, waiting in terms of everything, waiting of process, waiting of people, waiting of material, waiting, inventory, waiting, anything which is waiting. Because that's what will defeat the purpose of lean. Lean is all about seamless flowing of the process. And to solve this, practically we go with batch versus single piece flow. Let's quickly have a look at a video here. Short video with no voice in it, but that should do the job. Batch versus single piece flow. And try to relate with it. I am moving batch of 10 items at one time. This is waiting. Nothing is happening here. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. These are waiting. Why I'm moving in the batch of 10? Unless until 10 items get here, it will not start processing. Now, this is still waiting. This is just getting, till then I don't get, there'll always be a count of 10 here. There'll always be a count of 10 till the work happens. This is already done. You're moving batch into one item. There's no waiting. This is inventory waste. Inventory waiting to be processed. That we saw in that example. Inventory was, if you move one at a time, we'll not have that waiting waste. This is still, unless you always see a 10 item waiting to be processed. 10 item. Unless until you get 10 items, your work will not be done. See, same 10 items processed in 29 seconds, 41 seconds, not 1 minute. What is the reason here? We were moving with batch of 10. So first we started filling in 10. The moment this guy had 10, that's when this guy started processing. So this guy was waiting till then they got 10 items, and this while was any which is waiting. And now this guy started processing all 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The moment this guy got 10, that's when this guy's moved it to the next stage. And that's when this guy started processing and moving it to the next when 10 items got. Moving with bigger lot size is going to create waiting waste, delay, and the inventory waste also. This inventory which is waiting to be processed already. You move with a smaller batch, obviously you will be able to do it sooner and then you have lesser inventory waste. The best part is when you move with one piece at a time, one piece at a time. One person does it, another person also. No inventory which is waiting. This comes in here, gets processed, comes in here, gets processed. So there's no waiting waste. So not every organization can work with a one-piece flow. If you can, your organization can afford to get into this kind of model where one person does it, one person checks it. So process steps can be designed in such a way that you only move one piece at a time. Great. Any given day, you will be in a better position rather than producing in bulk. It always should try to go for smaller inventory, like smaller. You may still be producing in bulk, but you would not be producing in a volume like at one go. So you don't move with a block size. You always move one piece at a time. So one person, if there's an error, it will be caught immediately. Here, I might end up making error and I will ship up all the errors to this guy. That's when this guy realizes, sorry, this part is all the parts that the work done is not good. Then I might, so I will have a big lot of error here. But the moment I have an error here, this guy will immediately alert. So I will have lesser wastage, lesser defects in this small size, where here I'll have bigger lot size of defects. So capturing defects in small batch size is easier than a bigger lot size. And there is a waiting waste, everything is wrong with it. But yeah, as I said, not every company can work with a single piece flow, which is desired one. So at least what we try to work with smaller batch sizes. So we can optimize our cost of, and we have lesser of waiting inventory cost in the process. So we always try to work with single, like small batch sizes. So you cannot go with full batch sizes. So this is linked with the fourth principle automatically, which is enable pull.
WNP abbreviation for waste in process ولا for waiting in process?
Waiting for anything, waiting for process, waiting for people, waiting for machine, waiting for instruction, anything. When you see your process, when you went to your processor, you saw waiting of people waiting. Why? Because they are waiting for their supervisor to give them approval. I'm waiting for raw material. I'm looking at the inventory, which is waiting between two different steps. Everything is waiting. I need to cut that wait. Anything which is waiting, I will cut that. And how do I cut that? By moving with small. If I move with a single piece flow, in that example that we're looking for, one person does it, another person gets stamped, another person, this moves it one piece. There won't be any inventory in waiting, no inventory in waiting. But now we do have inventory in waiting. Why? Because this guy keeps producing, keep piling up. And this guy would, because this guy is slow, it takes 45 minutes. So obviously there will be inventory always waiting here. Now this guy keeps stamping 45 minutes, every 45 minutes, keeps doing the job. But this guy takes 120 minutes to do one work. So obviously there will be inventory which will be getting piled up here. So inventory keeps getting piled up because they're working at different pace. And if one person cuts it, another person stamps it. So once you don't start cutting, pretty much I have to enable what we call as pull system. That's what we come into. What is the solution to remove this waste? Is what is the enable pull system. These two are more like interlinked with each other. So there are two types of production, which is happening here. It's called push production. Push versus pull production is the reason. So ideally, we would always love to have a pull production rather than push. But again, not every industry can work with pull production. What is pull production? Let's understand this. You only produce when there is a demand. You don't just produce just like that. You don't keep producing and giving it to the next person and the inventory is waiting. So you only produce when there is a demand created. When there is a need, you're asked to create, that's when you create one. So you don't produce unnecessarily. So you will not have that inventory waste piling up with you. Practically, if I talk about the best one in the industry is Toyota. They have very clear-cut instructions to their supplier. You want to be a Toyota supplier, you cannot be anywhere else. You have to be within 30 minutes drive within a Toyota facility. The moment I order, I should get the material within 30 minutes. Simple as that. If you can't comply, please find somebody else. I have my clear-cut requirement. I'm a manufacturer. I will not store material with me. They have no store. They don't keep any material. So the moment they get the order, that I have to manufacture 30 cars or 50 cars. They'll call up their suppliers. We need material for 30 cars. Okay. Within 30 minutes, the material should be in their facility. They won't keep material. Your job, supplier, you keep material. That's your job, not mine. I'm manufacturer. Why should I keep material with me? Well, simple as that. They work with zero inventory concept. And with the moment we manufacture, we don't have a place to store those cars. Done. They're already demand. Customer is waiting. Just ship it. So no place to even park those cars also. Ship it. Simple as that. They work with pull systems. You first get a demand and then you create and then you procure material. Then you produce and then you ship it. Simple as that. No storage. Neither raw material nor finished good. But can every company work with that logic? No. You cannot work with that logic. Like you go to a supermarket, don't you see the material already there? Would you go to a supermarket, then tell the person that I need this material, and then they place a demand to the manufacturer? No, you always get it. You go to chemist shop, you look for medicine. Obviously, medicines are already there. So they have to work with push production. But there is inventory which is getting piled up there. So how do they manage? And that's why this logic is managed by something what we call as supermarket concept. This will solve this and this together. Supermarket concept will be the solution which will cover both the flow and the pull part of it. Let's understand how. Same chart. Let's move to the next one. So what we looked at the entire process, when we looked at the entire process, look at this. I for inventory waste, I for inventory waste, I for inventory waste, I for inventory waste, I for inventory waste. Every time I see inventory waste between two process steps, see everywhere. You don't have it here. Why? That's the symbol of supermarket. No inventory waste. This is the symbol we see. This is the symbol of supermarket concept. And this one that you see here is pull system. This symbol is pull. You're pulling up from a inventory. Now, what is it? Let's understand. When you go to a supermarket, don't you like is the inventory already lying there? Yes, the inventory is already lying there. So you go and pick it up from the supermarket. So you're pulling the inventory from the supermarket, from the racks. This is a rack that you have there, and you have all the material displayed there. You pull it up from the rack. So they work with a Kanban logic, which is a visual signal. So this could be cards or bins or trays. So there's a bucket which has 10 items in it. And these 10 items needs to be consumed. I have one more bucket which is 10 items in it, and it's kept in my store as a safety stock. So that 10 item bucket is in my storage, and one bucket is here, so people can come and pick up the material. People come and pick up the material. The moment this tray is empty and goes back to store, I will obviously move that material from the store, keep it here, so people can start purchasing and continue the purchase. That is when I know I need to order. So I get to know when to order. Why? Because I have got an empty tray. How much to order? Yes, I know this is how much I have to order. So I work with small batches. I don't get plenty of everything. I know how much to order and when to order. The indicator and the trigger is this tray, the empty tray I get, and I know 10 items. Simple as that. I get the 10 items here. So the moment this is finished, I keep replacing. And every time I get the tray back, I know that's the time to order. I will not continue ordering anytime, because there's a shelf life for everything. So yes, I work with minimum safety stock, so I don't pile up excess inventory for anything. So this is pull system. When do you order? When this is a pull from basically, although you're keeping the inventory, it's a push production, but you still enable the pull in it. So you have to keep inventory, but you keep it logically, so you don't end up piling up too much. What these guys did, let's understand what they introduced. So this, we had to kind of ship some material. So these guys would have got the demand. Now this guy has to kind of configure the part and then ship it to the customer. So what these guys generally do is they keep some material here, some material which are ready, already ready. So this guy can start picking up from here. So this guy say this some about 20, 30, whatever material is already kept here. And now this guy starts picking up material from this rack. Now this rack gets empty. Now this guy gets empty. That's when this gives you a signal to the testing team that I need to start testing and keeping and fill this particular rack, which is because they have consumed from this rack. Now because they have to kind of do the test, they will pick up from this place. So there's some inventory here. They pick it from here, because the moment this gets, like, you end up consuming from here, that's when these guys know I need to replenish it. Well, this guys only produce when this section starts getting empty. Well, these guys will produce it. How they produce? They will be picking up from here. So because they start assembling it now, because these guys get to know that this is getting empty, that's when they start producing it. So rather than I producing from left to right, the production starts from right to left. First, a demand is created at this stage, and it starts creating a reverse demand. So nobody produces unless there is a need created, and need is created from the end, and that's why it goes back, and that's when the first thing, that's when we start procuring. When these guys would not have any more material, that's when they'll say, suppliers, send me the material. Why? Because there is a demand which we have consumed here. So it goes back how we keep going and picking up material from the. So it's a reverse activity which we do. And what will be my next activity? If you want to look at it, this is already optimized value stream map. Why? Because we already have this symbol here. They've already implemented value stream map, and they've already improved something. There was an inventory here. They've introduced a supermarket here. And you see, they have identified new areas in the second stage of improvement. There's too much of waiting time to plan how will we meet the customer demand. 13 weeks they have identified. That's how you identify areas of improvement. With this burst symbols, we have figured out this is our next target, that we will be reducing this 13 weeks planning and strategy. They have identified again too much of inventory out here. That is where the next area we will hit and see create supermarket. That's where now new supermarket will be created. There's excess inventory always lying here. 8 days worth of inventory is always lying here. So they figured out there's too much of inventory. Let's introduce a supermarket here. So just slowly, steadily get a supermarket everywhere. That's how it is. You keep going to ensure there's no inventory which is piled up. You don't pile up inventory. There's no inventory. This is only safety stock, limited inventory. You keep picking up, and you keep kind of replenishing it. Simple as that. That's what we know as supermarket concept. Is it understood, like how this process enable and pull part comes into picture?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Having said that, I would like, we have another principle. We, like, given the time, we would not probably get into it. The last one is fairly simple, which is, but we still will resume with that tomorrow, which is strive for perfection. And we'll still have some more elements to cover in the lean, so it's not done. And before I do it, please, if at all you can get some time, because before I place this file, like by tomorrow morning, I'll have this file uploaded. If you get some time, even before the session, it will be great if you can go through these videos. It's not lengthy, probably max 5-7 minutes long video, like 3-4 videos. It will be more than enough. You'll be able to relate, and we can have more meaningful discussion around this. And because then you will be able to relate how this VSM works. We anyway have a fair bit of idea, but that will be a simulation activity. So you will see everything happening there, how people go back and how, because they would be doing those steps, they'll moving the parts, and how somebody will pick up the material, the supermarket concept. Everything is displayed in a basic 5-7 minute the simulation activity. So you'll get to understand everything that we discussed. How does it work in the real world practically? So this barely like 3-4 videos. Strongly recommended. Please go through it, because it's gonna clear your concept with respect to the lean implementation part. Is that going to be possible? Like, so like what I'll do is, like, give me like another, don't wait for tomorrow. Give me like 10 minutes. I'll place this file in the Google Drive after placing the links of the video right here. I'll place the links here, right here, those YouTube links. So like, give me like 10 minutes. I'll place the links first, and then you can probably download it today, right now, or like probably not after 10 minutes, or probably in the morning, whenever you are comfortable. But do watch out those. Basically, it won't take long, those videos.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I guess that will be all for today. But yes, we can do a quick recap of that tomorrow. And yes, we do have some more topics in the lean to cover up before we get started with the data part of it tomorrow.
Right.
All right. So
All right.
all of them.
Good night.
Good night,
Everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Shashi,
Good night.
Yes.
the other file which you showed, that VSM, no, that file also you're uploading?
Yeah. I'll show. Like, I'll upload all of that. So that's it's part of the lean tech. So yes, even the other, we will be talking about 5S tomorrow. So I'll place the entire file so you can go through it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Take care.